Chapter 1845. In ancient times, the devil race invaded the divine world. The entire divine world was plunged into misery and suffering. Countless living beings joined forces to fight against the devil race. My Sun-Moon alchemy sect was naturally the first to bear the brunt. That battle was extremely tragic. My Sun-Moon alchemy sect, from the sect master to the Oddjob disciples, all died in battle. They were killed by the devil race. I was the only one who survived. I placed their corpses in the space of the first 8 floors of the pagoda, and collected their true spirits. As long as I can prove my Tao and become an emperor, I can bring them back to life and let my Sun-Moon alchemy sect reappear in the divine world. The hemp-robed old man said slowly. There was a trace of excitement and fanaticism in his eyes. However, hundreds of millions of years have passed. The defensive array of the first 8 floors has been damaged. So once you enter, you will destroy the balance and cause those corpses to turn into ashes. However, they died in the hands of an extremely powerful devil saint. Their bodies have the devil Tao origin energy. So, once their corpses turn into ashes, the devil Tao origin energy will gather and form a terrifying storm. Those storms are naturally a test for you. If you can't even withstand the storm formed by the devil Tao origin energy, how can you obtain my inheritance? So, those who can come to the 9th floor are those who have passed the test. As for whether you can obtain my inheritance, it will depend on your fortune and luck. The hemp-robed old man explained what had happened in the first 8 floors. Everyone finally understood, but they were still skeptical. Ling Xiao could also feel the sincerity of the hemp-robed old man's words. It didn't seem like he was lying. However, Ling Xiao felt that there was something wrong with the old man's words. As for what the problem was, he couldn't pinpoint it. Prove your Tao and become an emperor? Senior, you are really bold. I admire you greatly. We are willing to help you complete your obsession. It is our honor to be your last disciple. Huang Xuanzong said respectfully. You are not bad. The hemp-robed old man looked at Huang Xuanzong and smiled with satisfaction. Senior, I know that my strength is low and I have no hope of obtaining your inheritance. Senior, can you let me out? Suddenly someone asked. His voice was filled with apprehension. Among the crowd, some of them looked at the hemp-robed old man with anticipation. They were scared out of their wits by the scene in the first 8 floors. No matter what the hemp-robed old man said, they were unwilling to believe him. You want to leave? Could it be that you look down on my inheritance? The old man in the linen robe said with an indifferent smile. His voice was very calm. No. How would I dare? It's just that this junior knows that he's stupid, and no matter how hard he tries, it's useless. I don't want to waste Senior's time, so I want to leave this place. I hope Senior can help me. That person was a young man with the cultivation of 8th Revolution semi-sage realm. He was dressed in a white robe, and looked extraordinarily handsome. However, he was incomparably respectful and nervous in front of the old man. Ling Xiao could sense that this young man was probably a genius expert from a great clan or holy ground. He wasn't any weaker than Xiao Rui and Iron Heart Ape. Ling Xiao also wanted to see how the old man would deal with this. It seems that you don't want to help this old man complete his obsession. What a pity. The hemp-robed old man sighed. No. Junior doesn't dare. Senior, please grant my wish. The white-robed youth hurriedly denied. Whoosh. However, before he could finish his words, a black light suddenly shot out from the old man's palm. It instantly shot towards the white-robed youth. His entire body trembled, and his eyes were filled with incomparable horror. His entire body instantly turned into ashes. Everyone couldn't help but tremble. Their eyes were filled with incomparable horror. An 8th Revolution semi-sage realm peerless genius died, silently just like that. Everyone shuddered in their hearts. If you're not willing to help this old man complete his obsession, then there's no point in keeping you alive. Is there anyone else who wants to leave this place? The old man in the linen robe said indifferently, as if he didn't care at all about killing an ant. His gaze swept across the crowd calmly. Senior, you must be joking. How could we possibly want to leave this place? That's right. We'll definitely help Senior complete his obsession. To be able to obtain Senior's inheritance and become Senior's last disciple is a fortune and opportunity that we can't even dream of. Everyone shuddered. The horror in their eyes hadn't completely faded away. They hurriedly said with incomparable respect. At this moment, everyone's heart was incomparably cold. At this moment, they suddenly realized that this old man in the linen robe was not a kind person at all. If they didn't do as he said, they were afraid that everyone would die here. At this moment, no one dared to think about whether there was any conspiracy. They only thought that surviving was the most important thing. Even Lin Shi, Xiao Rui, Tai Xingyuan, and Huang Xuanzong's faces were slightly pale. So ruthless. Ling Xiao didn't show it on the surface, but he sneered in his heart. Whether this old man in the linen robe was a Hunyuan elixir saint or not, he wasn't a kind person. Moreover, Ling Xiao could see a trace of crazy obsession in his eyes. That's good. You guys can start moving. As long as you can obtain this old man's inheritance, each of you will have a fortune. Moreover, this old man will also send all of you away safely. The old man in the linen robe smiled slightly and returned to his benevolent appearance. Yes, sir. Everyone respectfully bowed to the old man in the linen robe, then turned around and slowly dispersed. Since there was no way to leave, they could only search for the inheritance as the old man in the linen robe said. Some people with a good mentality were even a little excited. After all, this was the inheritance of a peerless elixir saint. If they could really obtain it, the position of elixir saint in the future would be expected. After all, this old man in the linen robe was terrifyingly powerful. If he really wanted to kill, he could probably kill everyone in the blink of an eye. Perhaps he really wanted to choose a successor. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Everyone flew in groups of 3 to 5 towards the memory stars they had chosen. At this moment, Lin Shi flew towards Ling Xiao and Jin Sei with an old servant. Palace Master Long, Saintess Jin Sei, may I have the honor of forming a team with you? Lin Shi smiled slightly. Her face was beautiful, her skin was like jade, and she looked very charming. Her figure was graceful. Her curves were exquisite, and her waist was like a water snake's waist, exuding a myriad of emotions. Ling Xiao glanced at Jin Sei. Seeing that Jin Sei didn't object, he nodded and said with a smile, Sure. It's our honor to have such a beauty like Fairy Lin Shi join us. Palace Master Long's mouth is really sweet. I wonder how Palace Master Long thinks we should search for the memory stars. Chapter 1846. Ling Xiao, Jin Sei, and Lin Shi stood under the starry sky. The stars before them were dazzling, like a dazzling river of stars. It was extremely beautiful. If it weren't for the presence of the old man in sackcloth, who made everyone feel the danger and urgency of the 5 elements, the beautiful scenery before them would have been enough to make them feel relaxed and happy. To be honest, I have no idea how to find the memory stars. Perhaps we'll only know after we try. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he spoke slowly. In the starry sky before them, all the memory stars before them looked extremely similar. They were sparkling and resplendent, containing mysterious spiritual ripples. They contained the boundless inheritance of the Origin Pill Saint. Although Ling Xiao didn't know the old man's intentions, and why he wanted so many people to search for his inheritance, Ling Xiao didn't believe that the old man really wanted to choose a successor. There had to be some scheme behind this, but Ling Xiao hadn't discovered it yet. Swish! Ling Xiao and the other 2 turned into streaks of light, and shot into the depths of the starry sky. They didn't join the others. Instead, they chose a remote corner in the depths of the starry sky. There were 3 connected stars there. They looked dazzling and weren't far from each other. They wanted to try and see what was in these memory stars. I'll refine this star. Lin Shi chose one of the stars and smiled at Ling Xiao and Jin Sei. She immediately flew towards the star. Ling Xiao and Lin Shi each chose a star and began to refine it. What a strange star. It's completely made of spiritual energy? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. He looked at the star in front of him and felt somewhat surprised. This was because he could sense that this star wasn't a real star, but a manifestation of spiritual energy. It looked like a real star. Ling Zhao's soul could sense that the memory star before him had an extremely powerful memory ripple sealed within it. I'd like to see what's in this memory star. Ling Xiao thought to himself. Then his soul shone with resplendent light. It erupted in an instant and enveloped the memory star before him. Rumble. The power of Ling Xiao's primordial spirit was incomparably strong. Although his cultivation was only at the second revolution, his primordial spirit wasn't any weaker than a ninth revolution half-saint. Although the memory star contained a powerful sealing force, Ling Xiao's primordial spirit easily penetrated it and saw a bizarre and variegated scene. The blue sea was clear, and the clouds were faintly discernible. There was an immortal mountain floating above the sea. There were pavilions and towers on top of it. There were immortal cranes and spirit apes. It looked like a paradise. There were powerful figures flying around. It seemed like this was a sect with a deep foundation. Master, I still can't master the 3 mountains mirroring the moon quenching technique. Why don't you demonstrate it to me again? In a palace on the immortal mountain, a handsome young man was hugging the arm of a long-browed old Taoist. His eyes were filled with anticipation. Primordial chaos, you little bastard. You didn't pay attention when I was teaching. Now you remember? The long-browed Taoist scolded with a smile, but his eyes were full of affection when he looked at the young man. Is this young man the primordial chaos pill saint when he was young? In that case, this immortal mountain is the Sun-Moon Elixir sect? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he thought to himself. His primordial spirit entered the memory star. It was like entering a world as a bystander and seeing the scene in the memory. Master, I'm begging you. If you don't teach me and I lose in the competition, won't I embarrass you? Primordial chaos begged with a pitiful look in his eyes. All right. I really don't know what to do with you. Watch carefully. I'll only demonstrate it once. If you can't learn it, don't blame me. The long-browed Taoist was pestered by primordial chaos and could only agree with a bitter smile. The 3 mountains mirror the moon quenching technique. The so-called 3 mountains are heaven, earth, and man. They gather in the primordial spirit and reflect in the way of the heavens. The 3 mountains mirror the moon quenching technique is to use the power of the 3 mountains to merge the primordial spirit with the way of the heavens. Only then can one understand the true meaning of quenching and refine supreme divine elixirs. As the long-browed Taoist spoke, he began to demonstrate the 3 mountains mirror the moon quenching technique. Buzz. The void trembled. Flames spread out from the palm of the long-browed Taoist, exuding a vast and mysterious aura. It was as if the spirit of fire had blended into the void. A formless chi was condensed from the world and the long-browed Taoist's body, making the flames in his palm seem to have become more and more spiritual. Ling Xiao could see that the long-browed Taoist's quenching technique was very smooth and extraordinary. It seemed to be in harmony with the way of the heavens and earth. It had a different rhythm and beauty. The 3 mountains mirror the moon quenching technique? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. The long-browed old Taoist had imparted the primordial 3 mountains moon reflection quenching technique to Ling Xiao. It was as if Ling Xiao had been taught by example, allowing him to gain an extremely deep understanding of it. He finally realized that the 3 mountains mirror the moon quenching technique actually involved the origin of the way of the heavens. It was a technique for refining supreme divine elixirs, and was incomparably precious. It turned out that the memory star contained the scene of the primordial chaos pill, saint learning the 3 mountains mirror the moon quenching technique. After a long while, Ling Xiao slowly opened his eyes. There was a hint of understanding in his eyes. The star in front of him was still resplendent, but Ling Xiao had already obtained the 3 mountains mirror the moon quenching technique, so this memory star became slightly dimmer. At the same time, Lin Shi and Jin Se also woke up. Fairy Lin Shi Jin Se, what memories did you obtain? Ling Xiao recounted the memories of the 3 mountains mirror the moon quenching technique he obtained, then looked at Lin Shi and Jin Se curiously. I obtained the Phoenix Cryempyrean Pill Condensation Technique. This Phoenix Cryempyrean Pill Condensation Technique uses the Divine Beast Phoenix's sound waves as a foundation. It resonates with the way of the heavens and forms an extremely mysterious power. Lin Shi said slowly. She told him all the techniques she had obtained from the memory star without holding anything back. I obtained the Yin-Yang Cauldron Refining Technique. Jin Se said indifferently, her voice still incomparably cold. The 3 mountains mirror the moon quenching technique, the Phoenix Cryempyrean Pill Condensation Technique, and the Yin-Yang Cauldron Refining Technique. These are all supreme techniques that have long been lost in the ancient times. How did we obtain them so easily? This is unbelievable. Chapter 1847. Lin Shi was a genius of the Pill Seal Mountain, so she had a certain understanding of these three great techniques. They were all techniques that had been lost since ancient times, and now, she had actually found them in the Hunyuan Dan Saint's memory star, which made her extremely excited. They had absorbed the memories of the memory star, and were like incarnations of origin. They had personally learned these techniques and naturally had an extremely deep impression of them. Although the primordial chaos alchemy saint was an alchemy saint of his generation, rumor has it that his martial arts talent was also extremely strong. He once created a supreme holy technique that shocked the ancient times. I'm afraid these memories are an irresistible temptation for everyone. Ling Xiao said slowly, a thoughtful look in his eyes. Boom. At this moment, a great battle suddenly broke out in the distant starry sky. Dazzling divine light bloomed. The genius experts who were originally united against a common enemy began to fight over a memory star that they had taken a fancy to. Their eyes were filled with incomparable excitement, but their eyes were filled with murderous intent. It was as if in an instant, they had become united against a common enemy, and began to fight over a memory star. They were all beneficiaries and had obtained great benefits from the memory star. They were so excited that they forgot everything, and began to join in the fight for the memory star. From the memory star, they had not only obtained powerful alchemy knowledge and secret alchemy techniques, but more importantly, they had also obtained the divine skills and supreme secret techniques that Pill Saint Hunyuan had left behind. These saint techniques that pointed directly to the origin of the great Tao naturally made everyone scramble for them. They did not hesitate to fight over them. This is the memory star that I have taken a fancy to. Why should I give it to you? Why? Because my fist is bigger than yours and my strength is stronger than yours. If you want to die, go ahead and try. You are simply robbers. This memory star is mine. None of you can touch it. Boy, I think you are tired of living. Everyone, stop fighting. We should be united against a common enemy. How can we kill each other here? Do you all want to die here? Under the starry sky, the sound of quarreling rang out, accompanied by a fierce battle. When everyone saw the things in the memory stars, it was as if they had gone mad. Their eyes turned red, and they all wanted to take the secret techniques in the memory stars for themselves. They really don't know what's good for them. Whether or not they'll be able to escape from the 9th floor of the pagoda is another matter. Yet they've actually started fighting amongst themselves now. What a motley crew. Lin Shi looked at the crowd in the distance, shook her head and sneered. Don't worry about them, but I have an idea. A wisp of wisdom flashed through Ling Zhao's eyes as he slowly said, since those memory stars are the memories of the Origin Essence Pill Saint, then perhaps we can discover the Origin Essence Pill Saint's goal, and even his weakness from those memories. This is our only chance. Otherwise, once his inheritance is obtained by someone else, I'm afraid we'll really be powerless. You're right. Let's refine those memory stars as soon as possible, and see if we can find some useful clues. Jin Se also nodded calmly. Next, Lin Shi and Jin Se continued to refine the memory stars in the starry sky. However, the appearance of those memory stars was extremely similar, and there was no pattern to follow. Wanting to find useful clues was tantamount to looking for a needle in a haystack. Ling Xiao did not choose to refine the memory stars one by one. Instead, he turned into a stream of light and wandered through the starry sky. These memory stars, or rather, the memory fragments of the Origin Essence Pill Saint would be more appropriate. However, why would they appear in the 9th floor of the pagoda? Why would the Origin Essence Pill Saint extract these memories? What secret is there that I don't know? Ling Xiao thought to himself as he strolled through the air. Simply refining the memory stars would be a waste of time. Ling Xiao chose to carefully observe the differences in those memory stars in an attempt to find a pattern. Ling Xiao always felt that the way to break out of this situation was in these memory stars. There were too many things in this pagoda that Ling Xiao could not understand. Even the content that the Origin Essence Pill Saint had explained before was very far-fetched in Ling Xiao's opinion. He tried to find the truth behind the layers of fog. Suddenly Ling Xiao felt the wordless heavenly book tremble slightly. His footsteps came to a halt. This is only a dark starry sky. There's nothing here. Why would the wordless heavenly book react? Ling Xiao thought to himself as his brows furrowed slightly. He was currently at the edge of the resplendent starry sky. The stars here seemed very sparse, and there was a large expanse of darkness between each star. Ling Xiao was now in between the two stars. He tried again. When he stood in front of the two stars, the wordless heavenly book didn't react at all. Only when he stood in the dark space between the two stars did the wordless heavenly book react. Moreover, the reaction was incomparably strong. Is there something strange about this place? Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat. Instantly, his soul spread out silently towards the dark space. At the same time, he even used his mind realm to envelop him and the space within a few meters of him. Crack! Ling Xiao's heart suddenly trembled. He could not see anything in the dark space with his naked eyes. However, in his mind realm, a black star appeared in front of him. The black star exuded an extremely powerful and dark sealing power. It looked extremely evil. It was actually the power of the demonic Tao origin. This memory star is different from the others. It looks like it was deliberately sealed by someone. Is there some unspeakable secret hidden in it? Ling Xiao thought curiously. Ling Xiao's mind realm enveloped this area. From the outside, no one could see what Ling Xiao was doing. This was also the reason why he released his mind realm. Otherwise, his little tricks would have been discovered by the old man in linen robes. Ling Xiao still felt a little insecure. At the same time, he silently used the heaven-shrouding secret technique. I'd like to see why you sealed this memory star. Ling Xiao sneered in his heart. He suspected that this memory star was most likely sealed by the primordial chaos pill saint himself. Buzz. Ling Xiao's palm was enshrouded in light. He slowly patted the void and at the same time, he patted the dark star. Suddenly, a majestic devouring power erupted from Ling Xiao's palm. The powerful seal on the black star began to loosen under the effect of the heaven-shrouding secret technique. There's hope. Ling Xiao's eyes lit up. He immediately continued to use the heaven-shrouding secret technique to devour the powerful seal on the black star. Moreover, Ling Xiao was devouring the seal on the star in his mind realm. In addition, he had used the heaven-shrouding secret technique. No one discovered what he was doing at all. Crack. Finally, a crisp sound was heard. The seal on the black star was completely opened. I'd like to see what kind of unspeakable secret you're hiding. Ling Xiao's eyes shone brightly. His majestic primordial spirit power instantly surged into the black memory star. Chapter 1848. Heaven and earth were shattered and stars were falling. The void was filled with a layer of bloody light, which looked extremely demonic. Everywhere was filled with a strong smell of blood. Broken limbs and corpses of various races could be seen everywhere. It was like purgatory in the human world, filled with killing intent. In this bloody world, a celestial mountain floated above the void. It was surrounded by a layer of powerful enchantment. Black light filled the air, as if countless demons were hiding and attacking the enchantment crazily. On the celestial mountain, countless disciples of the human clan were filled with fear and despair. The enchantment was on the verge of collapse. They knew the consequences of the enchantment breaking. The entire Sun-Moon Elixir sect would be turned into a land of death. No one would survive. On the peak of the celestial mountain, a long-browed Taoist with white hair and a beard was sitting cross-legged. A handsome young man was kneeling in front of him. However, the long-browed Taoist did not seem to be in a good state. The corners of his mouth were full of blood. His face was pale, and his eyes were filled with disappointment. He was on the verge of death. This is the hidden memory of the Hunyuan Elixir Saint? Ling Xiao was shocked. He was like a passerby in this world. He could tell at a glance that the young man kneeling in front of the long-browed Taoist was the Hunyuan Elixir Saint. The Hunyuan Elixir Saint's aura was extremely powerful. His cultivation had reached the sage realm. The long-browed Taoist in front of him was even more unfathomable. Although he was severely injured, a trace of fluctuation from his body was enough to shatter the void. Ling Xiao was shocked. He vaguely felt that he had touched the deepest secret of the Hunyuan elixir saint's heart. This black memory star hadn't been erased. It had just been sealed in the deepest part of his consciousness. If it hadn't been for the wordless heavenly book, Ling Xiao wouldn't have been able to discover it. However, the scene in this memory star made Ling Xiao's expression turn extremely serious. Master, is the realm of the gods really finished? Is there no hope for the human clan? I can't accept this, I can't accept this. The Hunyuan elixir saint knelt in front of the long-browed Taoist. His eyes were bloodshot and filled with killing intent and unwillingness. Fool, you're really a fool. This time, the demon emperor had made his move. The 9 great imperial emperors and 72 saint kings had invaded the divine realm at the same time. The Empress of Life had already died, and the human race no longer had any hope. After this battle, my Sun Moon Alchemy sect will disappear forever in the river of time, but you still have hope. Listen to me, quickly leave the divine realm, and preserve your strength. You have the potential to become a martial monarch, so don't let your emotions affect your decisions. Long Eyebrow Taoist said slowly. He looked at Hunyuan Alchemy Saint with a kind gaze. Master, I can't accept this. That old thief Songqing defected to the demon race. If it weren't for his sneak attack, how could you have been seriously injured? I must kill this traitor who betrays his master and destroys his ancestors. Primordial Chaos Alchemy Saint roared furiously. His voice was filled with bone-deep hatred. Saint King Songqing was one of the 72 Saint Kings under the Demon Emperor. He was also a demon clan spy who had been lurking in the Sun Moon Alchemy sect for a long time. He was the junior brother of the Sun Moon Alchemy sect's sect master, Long-Browed Taoist, and one of the 2 great Saint Kings of the Sun Moon Alchemy sect. It was precisely because of Saint King Songqing's counterattack that the Long-Browed Taoist was severely injured and many Saint Path experts had died. That was why the Sun Moon Elixir sect had fallen into such a desperate situation. Rumble. At that moment, the boundary outside the immortal mountain trembled even more. A young man in a dark green Taoist robe stepped into the void and stood in the middle of countless demon gods. He wore a jade crown on his head and was extraordinarily handsome. However, his face was indifferent, and his eyes were filled with cold killing intent. He was Saint King Songqing. Senior brother Long Eyebrow, surrender. As long as you surrender, be loyal to the Demon Emperor, and refine elixirs for him in the future. The Demon Emperor said that he can protect the Sun Moon Elixir sect. I know that senior brother has a strong temperament, but do you really want the Sun Moon Elixir sect's legacy to end and billions of disciples to die here? Saint King Songqing said indifferently. His voice reverberated through the void like the divine voice of the great Tao, exuding an ethereal and mysterious nomological fluctuation. Songqing, I was wrong about you. Long Eyebrow Taoist's eyes flashed sharply. He stared at Long Eyebrow Taoist and sneered. You have followed me since you were young. I took you in as a disciple on behalf of my master, and imparted you with divine powers and Tao techniques. I hoped that you would bring glory to the sect, but I didn't expect to raise an ingrate. I only hate that I didn't see your true colors earlier. Cut the crap. If you want to kill me, then kill me. As a human, we will never subdue demons. Sun Moon Elixir sect, why would we shrink from a fight? Long Eyebrow Taoist's voice reverberated like endless heavenly thunder. It was grand and majestic, reaching the ears of every disciple and elder of the Sun Moon Elixir sect. Everyone's blood was boiling. Their eyes were filled with incomparable madness as they roared in a low voice. Sun Moon Elixir sect, why would we shrink from a fight? Sun Moon Elixir sect, why would we shrink from a fight? Sun Moon Elixir sect, why would we shrink from a fight? Everyone's voices reverberated through the sky. Everyone had the intention to fight to the death. What a pity. Senior brother, although you have treated me well, we are on different sides. Since you are unwilling to surrender, I can only kill you. Sun Moon Elixir sect will be removed from the name from today onwards. Saint King Songqing said indifferently with a trace of pity in his eyes. Rumble. A green ancient sword appeared in his hand. When he lifted it up, it was as if countless rays of divine light converged together. Primordial mist permeated the air as countless gods and devils roared within the sword light. In the end, They converged into a monstrous sword light that slashed down from the sky. The sword was too dazzling and dazzling. It illuminated everyone's eyes as if it had enveloped the entire immortal mountain. Crack. A crisp sound rang out. In an instant, the incomparably powerful boundary exploded. All the disciples of the Sun-Moon Elixir sect inside the boundary could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood. They had activated the boundary with their life force. When the boundary was broken, many of them suffered a powerful backlash. Idiot, you can't leave even if you want to now. Long Eyebrow Taoist glanced at Hunyuan Alchemy Saint and could not help but sigh. His eyes were filled with bitterness and sorrow as he closed them slightly. He could not bear to see the scene of the disciples of the Sun-Moon Elixir sect being slaughtered, but he was powerless to stop it. However, what Long Eyebrow Taoist did not see was that Hunyuan Alchemy Saint's eyes were bloodshot. His entire body was instantly enveloped in an extremely dense blood light that slowly spread out like a sea of blood. Master, I will never let the Sun-Moon Elixir sect be destroyed. Never. Chapter 1849. Primordial Chaos. Long Eyebrow Taoist opened his eyes. Seeing Primordial Chaos Alchemy Saint in front of him, he could not help but tremble. His eyes were full of shock. Master, since you're about to die, why don't you lend me your blood essence and help me kill the devil race? A cold and emotionless voice sounded, containing a bone-chilling wave. Although it was Primordial Chaos Alchemy Saint's words, it was not his voice at all. Primordial Chaos Alchemy Saint stood up, and the terrifying aura around him skyrocketed. Behind him, a blood-red light rose, as if opening up a mysterious world of blood in the endless void. At this moment, there was no trace of clarity in his eyes. They became scarlet and bloodthirsty. He took a step forward and slapped the top of Long Eyebrow Taoist's head. Boom. The vast essence blood in Long Eyebrow Taoist's body suddenly rushed into Primordial Chaos Alchemy Saint's body, causing the world of blood behind him to grow larger and more real. His aura also skyrocketed in an instant. This is the eternal world of blood. Idiot, you're really an idiot. Why do you have to do this? Since that's the case, let Master lend you a final helping hand. Long Eyebrow Taoist's eyes were full of sorrow, but he did not resist at all. In the end, there was a trace of kindness in his eyes. Then his body emitted an extremely terrifying aura wave. The essence blood in his body, and the last remaining life origin in his body instantly rushed into Primordial Chaos Alchemy Saint's body like a huge river. Like a flying butterfly flying into a flame, Long Eyebrow Taoist's life origin bloomed brightly like a meteor. Boom. In an instant, the entire sky above the immortal mountain was illuminated by the mysterious light of life. No one could describe the long-browed Taoist at this moment. It was as if he had merged with the way of heaven and become an omnipotent master. Although he knew that his soul might scatter and his real spirit might be annihilated, he still had no regrets. The vast light illuminated Primordial Chaos Alchemy Saint's ferocious face, making him look even more evil at this moment. This is the eternal world of blood. Impossible. How can you know the eternal world of blood's technique? You're my senior brother's most valued disciple. He can't possibly pass the eternal world of blood to you. Saint King Songqing's indifferent expression suddenly changed, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. However, what shocked him was yet to come. After devouring the long-browed Taoist's blood essence, the Hunyuan Alchemy Saint's aura was extremely terrifying. It was as if he had broken through some kind of limit. He was not much weaker than Saint King Songqing. All of you will become this emperor's food. The Origin Alchemy Saint licked his lips. His eyes were scarlet and bloodthirsty. He did not show any emotion at all. He radiated with a vast smell of blood, as if he was the origin of the way of blood. He was extremely terrifying. Rumble. The majestic blood world spread out. The immortal mountain that was originally filled with auspicious vapors was now shrouded by a boundless bloody light, turning into an evil and bloody mountain. All the disciples of the Sun-Moon Alchemy sect fused into the bloody light at this moment. Their essence blood and life source were sucked dry, completely disappearing into the sea of blood. The Sun-Moon Elixir sect disciples were stunned. They never thought that they would not die at the hands of the Devil Clan. but actually die at the hands of the primordial chaos pill saint. And in such an evil and strange way. Origin alchemy, you betrayed your master and ancestors. You'll die a horrible death. Origin alchemy saint, you don't deserve to be a disciple of the Sun Moon alchemy sect. What's the difference between you and Songqing? You're the biggest sinner of the Sun Moon alchemy sect. I won't let you go even if I become a ghost. Origin alchemy sect, you destroyed the Sun Moon alchemy sect. Sect Master Changmei, open your eyes and take a look. This is the peerless genius of the Sun Moon alchemy sect. This is the Origin alchemy saint. Ha ha ha. All the disciples and elders of the Sun Moon alchemy sect went crazy. They cursed and roared incessantly. They were in complete despair. The Origin alchemy saint's terrifying figure was reflected in the boundless bloody light. It was as if a giant demon of the way of blood had been born. Not only the people of the Sun Moon alchemy sect, but many experts of the Devil clan were also terrified. Origin alchemy saint, go to hell. Saint King Songqing sensed the surging aura of the Origin alchemy saint. His eyes unconsciously revealed a trace of fear. He roared angrily and pounced on the Origin alchemy saint. The eternal world of blood was too terrifying. Everything happened in an instant. The Origin alchemy saint, whom Saint King Songqing did not take seriously, actually made him feel fear. He wanted to kill the Origin alchemy saint at all costs because he knew that if he could not kill the Origin alchemy saint, he would die. Rumble. The ancient green sword bloomed with boundless sacred light. Vast great path nomological laws gathered and wrapped around the ancient sword like divine chains of order. Finally, it turned into an eternal sword light that pierced through the heavens and earth. It slashed down on the Origin alchemy saint. Saint King Songqing felt that this was the strongest moment of his life. This sword was enough to severely injure, or even kill a Saint King. You're too weak. The Hunyuan alchemy saint said indifferently. His voice was hoarse. The sea of blood that filled the sky rushed into the sky at this moment, and gathered in his palm. It was like a blood-red sun that rose up with a loud bang, and collided with the green sword light. Rumble. The eternal sword light, which seemed to be able to split the heavens and earth and shatter the heavens, shattered with a loud bang. It was silently submerged in the endless bloodlight. What? Saint King Songqing's eyes were filled with disbelief. His entire body was trembling. He said that you're going to die. All of you are going to die. The Hunyuan pill saint said calmly. His voice sounded extremely strange and evil. The vast blood world suddenly exploded at this moment. It was vast and mighty, as if it had enveloped the entire divine world. The demon clan experts who followed Saint King Songqing, whether they were weak demon god kings, powerful demon saints, or supreme saints, were all covered by the eternal world of blood. They could not resist at all, and were instantly turned into a part of the blood realm. Only Saint King Songqing was still struggling. However, as the Origin alchemy saint's aura skyrocketed, Saint King Songqing's eyes were filled with despair. Origin alchemy saint, you dared to cultivate the eternal world of blood. You sold your life, your primordial spirit, your true spirit, and everything else to him. You'll die a horrible death. You'll die a horrible death. Saint King Songqing roared angrily. However, the blood light that filled the sky surged and swallowed him in an instant. A peerless Saint King fell just like that. In front of Ling Xiao seemed to be a world of blood, filled with despair, evil, darkness, and various other negative presences. However, there seemed to be a pair of mysterious eyes that could see through the bloody light and through the endless space and time, seeing him. Chapter 1850. This eternal world of blood is too strange. Ling Xiao's body trembled, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. When he woke up from the memory fragments, there was still a lingering fear in his heart. The Origin essence alchemy saint's cultivation should be in the saint realm, or at most in the great saint realm. However, after he used the eternal world of blood, he instantly possessed supreme power comparable to a Saint King's. He even easily killed Saint King Songqing. Even though the Origin alchemy saint had devoured the long eyebrow Taoist blood essence and remaining life origin, the eternal world of blood was too strange and terrifying. Buzz. A blood-red rune appeared in Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness, exuding an extremely strange fluctuation. and was about to merge into Ling Xiao's primordial spirit. Ling Xiao had been looking through the memories in the memory star, and at the same time unconsciously refining the Origin Alchemy Saint's memory fragment. He had not expected to condense a rune of the eternal world of blood. Ling Xiao could feel that this blood-red rune was extremely strange, and it was actually the cultivation method of the eternal world of blood. He instinctively felt that this blood-red rune was not simple, and he must not let it merge into his primordial spirit. The wordless heavenly book suddenly bloomed with an extremely bright light, and in an instant, it swallowed the blood-red rune. Boom. Although the blood-red rune was swallowed by the wordless heavenly book, it suddenly bloomed with an infinite amount of light. The blood-red light spread out, as if it was about to rush out of Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness, forming a vast blood realm, and devouring everything. The wordless heavenly book shone brightly, and an ancient and mysterious fluctuation bloomed. The vast divine sound of the great Tao filled the air, and a series of divine chains of order emerged, entangling the blood-red rune, and began to slowly refine it. Ling Xiao had never seen the wordless heavenly book so nervous before. It was as if the blood-red rune was extremely terrifying, and the wordless heavenly book had to deal with it with all its might. However, in the end, the blood-red rune was still suppressed by the wordless heavenly book. Yes, it was suppressed because the wordless heavenly book could not completely refine this blood-red rune. What secrets does the eternal world of blood contain? Ling Xiao's heart trembled, and his face turned ugly. Although the wordless heavenly book had suppressed the blood-red rune, it seemed like the rune was a ticking time bomb. If it managed to escape the suppression of the wordless heavenly book, it would be a big joke. Ling Xiao did not want to become like the primordial chaos pill saint. Although he possessed extremely powerful strength, it was as if his consciousness had sunk into hell forever. His entire being no longer had a trace of clarity, and he was like a walking corpse that only knew how to kill. That kind of state, just thinking about it made people shudder. No wonder the Hunyuan pill sage sealed this memory. It turns out that Long Eyebrow Taoist and the entire Sun Moon pill sect didn't die in the hands of the devil race, but in his own hands. Ling Xiao sighed in his heart. Although he did not know what had happened after Primordial Chaos Alchemy Saint had killed Saint Songqing, it was obvious that Primordial Chaos Alchemy Saint could not accept it. Even if he had done it for revenge, he could not accept that he was the executioner who had destroyed the entire Sun Moon Alchemy sect. This is already something from ancient times. I didn't expect the enmity between the human race and the devil race to have been entangled for countless eras. They are really old enemies. However, how did the Primordial Chaos Pill Saint live until now? Ling Xiao began to think. He recalled the scene when he first saw the Primordial Chaos Pill Saint. Although the Primordial Chaos Pill Saint's chi and blood were monstrous, and he seemed to have a strong vitality, in fact, his life source had already dried up. His entire body was filled with the aura of death, just like a corpse that had been dug out from an ancient tomb. Or, the Primordial Chaos Pill Saint has already died? In this way, many things can be explained clearly. However, what kind of existence is he, and where is this 9-story pagoda? Ling Xiao's thoughts flickered. He vaguely felt that he seemed to have grasped some key point. He was about to peel away the layers of fog, and see the truth hidden behind the fog. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He did not choose to stay here for long. Instead, he went to a memory star next to him. As he looked at the memory fragments, he secretly pondered and investigated. Buzz. A strange wave of energy spread out from Ling Xiao's body, silently spreading to the surroundings. At the same time, Ling Xiao also saw the memory fragments in the memory star. Primordial Chaos. This is the Sun Moon Elixir Sect's treasure, the Sun Moon Elixir Scripture. I hope you can work hard to cultivate and become a peerless elixir saint, bringing the Sun Moon Elixir Sect to greater heights. In an ancient palace, Long Eyebrows Taoist handed an ancient scripture to the Primordial Chaos Pill Saint. Sun Moon Elixir Scripture? Ling Xiao's body trembled, and a strange look appeared in his eyes. Could it be so coincidental? In the memory star that he had randomly chosen, it was the scene of Long Eyebrows Taoist passing the Sun Moon Elixir Scripture to the Primordial Chaos Pill Saint. Although the Primordial Chaos Pill Saint did not say what his inheritance was, among the billions of memory stars, Ling Xiao thought that it was most likely the supreme inheritance of the Sun-Moon Elixir sect. The Sun-Moon Elixir scripture was probably the supreme inheritance of the Sun-Moon Elixir sect. So this starry sky is actually... Ling Xiao's heart trembled. At the same time, he finally discovered the secret of this starry sky. Rumble. At this moment, the starry sky trembled, and billions of stars bloomed with bright light at the same time. An ancient and vicissitude voice sounded in the void, with endless emotions and joy. My inheritance already has an owner. It was the voice of the primordial chaos pill saint. Whoosh. A stream of light traversed the starry sky, and the old man in linen clothes appeared in front of Ling Xiao instantly. He looked at him with a hint of satisfaction. What? The primordial chaos pill saint's inheritance has already been obtained? Damn it, why isn't it me? Who's so lucky? Everyone was extremely shocked and began to discuss. Each of them had different expressions. Some were jealous, some were shocked, and some were curious. However, they were soon swept up by a mysterious force, gathered from all directions in the starry sky, and appeared in front of the primordial chaos pill saint. When they saw Ling Xiao, they were momentarily stunned. It's him? The War Hall Master of the War Hall, Long Aotian? No one expected that the person who obtained the primordial chaos pill saint's inheritance would be Ling Xiao. This guy's luck is too good, isn't it? Lin Xi's eyes widened as she looked at Ling Xiao in disbelief and muttered softly. Chapter 1851. Long Aotian, how did he get the Hunyuan alchemy saint's inheritance? Xiao Rui and Tai Xingyuan's faces were ugly. They looked at Ling Xiao with jealousy and unwillingness. They were very clear about the glory of the Sun-Moon Elixir sect in ancient times, and the strength of the Hunyuan Elixir saint. They originally thought that with their talent, they might be able to obtain the inheritance of the Hunyuan Elixir saint. What's your name? The Hunyuan alchemy saint looked at Ling Xiao and asked. I'm Long Aotian, a disciple of the War God Hall. Greetings, Lord Hunyuan alchemy saint. Ling Xiao smiled and bowed to the Hunyuan alchemy saint. You already have a sect? But it doesn't matter. Since you've got my inheritance, you'll be my disciple and the sect master of the Sun-Moon alchemy sect. As for the War God Hall, you'd better leave. Kneel and acknowledge me as your master. The Hunyuan alchemy saint frowned slightly, but said indifferently. Lord Hunyuan alchemy saint, I already have a sect. Although I've got your inheritance, I don't want to betray my sect. Please grant me my wish. Ling Xiao smiled indifferently, but his voice was firm. So, you're not willing to be my disciple and the sect master of the Sun-Moon alchemy sect? The Hunyuan alchemy saint's eyes flashed and his voice turned cold. Long Aotian, you must be out of your mind. Why aren't you kneeling and greeting your master? Lin Xi looked at Ling Xiao with some disappointment as she hurriedly shouted. Everyone could feel the chilling intent emanating from the Origin Chaos Alchemy Saint. Xiao Rui and Ironheart Ape sneered coldly. They were overjoyed that Ling Xiao was so ignorant of the situation. They wanted the Origin Chaos Alchemy Saint to kill Ling Xiao with one palm, and take them as his disciples. Long Aotian, you're really infuriating. This Hunyuan Alchemy Saint seems to be out of his mind. Can't you agree with him first? It won't do you any good to anger him. Lin Xi grumbled angrily to Ling Xiao through voice transmission. Don't worry, I'll be fine. Ling Xiao said to Lin Xi through voice transmission as if he didn't care. Lord Primordial Chaos Pill Saint was unruly this time. He didn't know how to respect his seniors at all. He was just lucky. He doesn't deserve to be your disciple. Xiao Rui cupped his hands and bowed to Hunyuan Pill Saint. That's right, I can testify as well. Lord Primordial Chaos Pill Saint, this child has no talent in alchemy. I'm afraid he can't inherit your alchemy legacy at all. Ironheart Yuan's eyes flashed as he stood out and said. The atmosphere instantly became a little strange. No one expected Ling Xiao to reject the Hunyuan Pill Saint. What was even more unexpected was that Xiao Rui and Ironheart Ape would jump out. These two fellows seemed to be the ones who wanted to obtain the Hunyuan Pill Saint's inheritance the most. A bunch of ignorant fools, blinded by profit. Could it be that you guys really think that he's a Chaos Essence Alchemy Saint? Ling Xiao sneered, his eyes full of disdain. Not Hunyuan Alchemy Saint. Everyone couldn't help but tremble, stunned by Ling Zhao's words. Hunyuan alchemy saint is a figure from the ancient times. Even the great emperors of the ancient times can't live until now. Do you really think that a mere saint has such a long lifespan? Ling Zhao said indifferently. Finally, he looked straight at Hunyuan alchemy saint, his eyes deep and calm. Not bad, not bad. I haven't seen such an interesting young man in a long time. What else do you want to say? Just say it all. Hunyuan alchemy saint wasn't angry. Instead, he looked interested as he looked at Ling Zhao. You're actually dead, right? Ling Zhao stared at the Hunyuan Dan saint and said something that shocked everyone. Although you seem to have boundless vitality and powerful vitality, in reality, your life force has long since dried up. Your entire body is filled with the aura of death. Although I am very curious about what kind of existence you are indeed dead. Ling Zhao's voice was incomparably calm, but it caused everyone to feel a chill that penetrated their hearts. Hunyuan alchemy saint was dead? Then who was the old man in linen in front of them? Everyone could feel that the old man in linen in front of them wasn't a spirit body remnant soul at all. Even if it was a remnant soul, it was impossible for him to live from ancient times until now. The old man in linen in front of them was indeed a living being with flesh and blood. Everyone couldn't help but look at the old man in linen with a trace of fear in their eyes. Even Xiao Rui and Iron Heart Yuan's expressions changed. They were frightened by Ling Zhao's words at this moment. How could they still care about Hunyuan alchemy saint's inheritance? Although they had suspected that the old man in linen had a purpose before, after refining those memory stars, they were attracted by the various magical powers and had forgotten the danger here. Now they suddenly woke up. It turned out that the danger had never been eliminated. If what Ling Zhao said was true, then what was the old man's purpose? Compared to their own lives, the so-called inheritance, so-called opportunities, and fortune were just fleeting clouds. Not bad. I didn't expect you to be able to detect the situation in my body. I'm really getting more and more curious about you. However, this doesn't mean anything at all. Perhaps I used some secret technique. The world is so big. There are many things that you don't know. Boy, you really don't want to be my disciple? Hunyuan alchemy saint smiled slightly. His voice sounded ethereal and ethereal. However, his expression was very cold and indifferent. It looked very strange, causing everyone to feel a chill run down their spines. Everyone knows that Hunyuan alchemy saint is an expert in both alchemy and martial arts. Not only is his attainment in alchemy extremely high, but his combat strength is also extremely strong. However, very few people know that Hunyuan alchemy saint is also a heart saint. If I'm not wrong, this 9-story pagoda is transformed from your heart realm, right? Ling Zhao didn't directly answer Hunyuan alchemy saint's question. Instead, he continued to talk to himself. However, as soon as his voice fell, Hunyuan alchemy saint's eyes revealed a strange sharpness. Ling Zhao felt as if he was being stared at by some ancient fierce beast. Heart realm. Everyone couldn't help but exclaim. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. The content of Ling Zhao's words was too terrifying. However, after thinking about it carefully, everyone actually believed Ling Zhao's words. Only if the 9-story pagoda was Hunyuan alchemy saint's heart realm could they explain all of this. Only then could they explain the strange power, and how they were inexplicably pushed to the 9th floor. Then, they saw Hunyuan alchemy saint under the starry sky. It turned out that Hunyuan alchemy saint was the real mastermind behind the scenes. Chapter 1852. Origin Pill Saint took a deep look at Ling Zhao. His gaze was extremely deep, as if he could see through the depths of Ling Zhao's heart. There was a cold and mysterious power. Haha. I really didn't expect you to be able to sense that the 9-story pagoda is a heart realm. I'm really more and more curious about you. You're only a 2nd revolution half-saint. How did you sense that this is a heart realm? It seems that you're qualified to inherit all my inheritance. Origin Pill Saint looked at Ling Zhao with great satisfaction and continued. As for you saying that I'm dead, I understand your doubts, but you don't understand my strength. If I don't want to die, even God can't take me away. I still want to rebuild the Sun Moon Alchemy sect, climb to the top, and then destroy the devil race to avenge my Sun-Moon alchemy sect. Boy, I admire you. Are you really not going to take me as your master? Origin Pill Saint seemed to be extremely stubborn. He insisted on taking Ling Xiao as his disciple. As for everyone, they were even more confused. At this time, they seemed to be unable to tell whether Ling Xiao was right or Origin Pill Saint was right. But in any case, the scene in front of them revealed a kind of strangeness. You're not Origin Pill Saint. If I'm not wrong, you're Origin Pill Saint's obsession, right? Unfortunately, you don't know it yourself. Even after so long, you believed that you were still alive. But did the Sun-Moon Alchemy sect and Long Eyebrow Taoist really die in the hands of the devil race? Ling Xiao sighed softly. There was a trace of sympathy in his eyes as he looked at Origin Pill Saint. Origin Pill Saint's expression suddenly changed. He stared at Ling Xiao and said, "How do you know my master is Long Eyebrow Taoist? They died in the hands of the devil race in the ancient catastrophe. I'll definitely avenge them. I definitely will." "They didn't die in the hands of the devil race. They died in your hands," Ling Xiao said calmly, but his words were like a sudden clap of thunder, instantly shocking everyone to the extreme. Whoosh! A light flashed between Ling Xiao's eyebrows. In an instant, a bright light screen appeared in the void. A mysterious scene appeared on it. It was everything that Ling Xiao saw in the Black Memory Star. Everyone's body trembled. Their eyes revealed a look of disbelief. The Origin Universe Alchemy Saint's eyes instantly turned blood red. Rumble! The starry sky trembled violently. When everyone saw the primordial Origin Alchemy Saint use the eternal world of blood to kill Long Eyebrow Taoist and devour his essence blood, the endless world of blood enveloped the entire Sun-Moon Alchemy sect and slaughtered all the disciples of the Sun-Moon Alchemy sect. Everyone was in disbelief. What? Did Primordial Chaos Pill Saint really kill his master? The Sun-Moon Pill sect was also destroyed by him? How is this possible? Didn't they say that the people of the Sun-Moon Pill sect all died in the hands of the devil race experts? Sigh. The Origin Chaos Alchemy Saint did it for revenge. Didn't he kill Saint King Songqing and many demon clan experts in the end? I don't think Long Eyebrow Taoist would blame him if he knew about it in the underworld. Everyone discussed animatedly. They looked at the Origin Universe Alchemy Saint with complicated expressions. Although everyone admitted that the Origin Universe Alchemy Saint had no choice but to kill the devil race experts in the end, Long Eyebrow Taoist and everyone from the Sun-Moon Alchemy sect died in the hands of the Origin Universe Alchemy Saint. It could be said that the Origin Universe Alchemy Saint was the real murderer. It turned out that the revenge that the Origin Universe Alchemy Saint had been longing for was just a joke. This is impossible. This is impossible. Master and the Sun-Moon Alchemy sect were destroyed in the hands of the devil race. That person is not me. It's definitely not me. Who are you? Where did you get these memory fragments from? The Origin Universe Alchemy Saint seemed to have gone completely mad. He stared at Ling Xiao with bloodthirsty eyes. Origin Universe Alchemy Saint, I'm afraid that you can't accept your own actions. That's why you sealed this memory, right? I also saw it by accident. You should be able to tell if this memory is real or fake. Ling Xiao said slowly. His expression was very calm. However, he was extremely vigilant in his heart. The powerful energy around him was concealed. The wordless heavenly book and flipping sky seal were ready to be used at any time. After all, the news that Ling Xiao released was too explosive. It could simply deny everything that the Origin Universe Alchemy Saint knew. No one could guarantee that the Origin Universe Alchemy Saint would not suddenly attack. Rumble. The aura around the Origin Universe Alchemy Saint became extremely terrifying. The hearts in all directions were shaking violently. The bright stars seemed to shatter at any time. He was like a volcano that could erupt at any time. The energy in his body was extremely unstable. His face revealed an expression of incomparable pain and struggle. It was as if he was recalling something. It turns out that I really died long ago. It turns out that my so-called waiting for so many years was a joke. It turns out that I'm the murderer who killed the Sun-Moon Alchemy sect. Ahaha. The Origin Universe Alchemy Saint's eyes were filled with incomparable pain. It was as if a dusty memory had been opened. His entire body was trembling violently. Boom. The majestic qi and blood in his body began to slowly dissipate at this moment. The majestic vitality also receded like the tide. His entire body was filled with a deep layer of death qi. It was a kind of lethargy that came when one's life had come to an end. Everyone's eyes were filled with incomparable fear. They all scattered in all directions, afraid that they would be affected by the Origin Universe Alchemy Saint. This kind of obsession no longer has any meaning to exist. You should rest in peace. Ling Xiao sighed softly and said slowly. The so-called Origin Universe Alchemy Saint in front of him was actually an obsession. Perhaps he wanted to rebuild the Sun Moon Alchemy sect, or perhaps he wanted to find a successor. Perhaps he had other motives. However, all of these were built on the bone-deep hatred. However, now that the dusty memory had been opened by Ling Xiao, the obsession that the Origin Universe Alchemy Saint had persisted in all this time seemed to have no meaning to exist at all. His life had also come to an end. Boom. The Origin Universe Alchemy Saint suddenly raised his hand and grabbed. Immediately, the stars in the sky shook. Billions of stars gathered in his palm, and finally formed a bright sun that emitted incomparably brilliant light. Long Outyin, from now on you are the sect master of the Sun Moon Alchemy sect. All the inheritance here belongs to you. The Origin Universe Alchemy Saint's entire body seemed to have turned into a bright rain of light. However, before he disappeared, a trace of madness appeared in his eyes. Then he pointed at the center of Ling Xiao's eyebrows. The bright sun instantly flew into the center of Ling Xiao's eyebrows. All the inheritance of the Origin Universe Alchemy Saint and the Sun Moon Alchemy sect. Everyone could not help but tremble. At this moment, everyone's eyes lit up. Their eyes were filled with greed as they looked at the bright sun. Chapter 1853. That dazzling sun was formed by the countless stars in this galaxy. It contained the Hunyuan Elixir Saint's lifetime inheritance. How could they not be envious? They had never thought that the Hunyuan Elixir Saint's obsession would not only not vent his anger on Ling Xiao, but also give his lifetime inheritance to Ling Xiao. This filled their hearts with jealousy and unwillingness. They had refined some memory stars before, so they knew how amazing and terrifying the inheritance in those memory stars was. The inheritance of alchemy from the ancient times, various peerless elixir recipes, the Hunyuan Golden Pill, and the Hunyuan Daoyuo Golden Pill created by the Hunyuan Elixir Saint were enough to make a saint go crazy. Whoosh! That dazzling sun instantly entered between Ling Xiao's eyebrows. Its speed was extremely fast. Even if they wanted to fight for it, there was no chance at all. Long Outyin, hand over the Hunyuan Elixir Saint's inheritance. Those inheritances should be shared with everyone. You can't hog them alone. Huang Xuanzong's eyes were extremely cold as he looked directly at Ling Xiao and said, boom. Powerful auras erupted one after another. Under the dark starry sky, the eyes of many experts turned red as they surrounded Ling Xiao. That's right. The Hunyuan Elixir Saint's inheritance belongs to everyone. Hand it over quickly. Long Outyin, don't fail to appreciate our kindness. Don't be delusional to become enemies with so many people. Otherwise no one can save you. Xiao Rui and Tai Xinyuan also took a step forward. Their eyes were extremely cold as they stared at Ling Xiao and said coldly, hand it over. Long Outyin, Xuanzong's holy son, young Master Xiao and young Master Tai are right. We also have a share of the Hunyuan Elixir Saint's inheritance. In my opinion, just kill him directly. Capture his primordial spirit and search his soul. Why are you talking so much nonsense with him? Everyone berated one by one. The greed in their hearts had completely taken the upper hand. They also knew that Ling Xiao had the flipping sky seal, and his combat strength was extraordinary. He could even kill a 9-revolution half-saint directly. However, the Hunyuan Elixir Saint's inheritance was too amazing. They did not believe that Ling Xiao could defeat thousands of people. They were afraid that Ling Xiao would not dare to offend so many experts. Ling Xiao's gaze instantly became extremely cold. He glanced at the crowd and said, the Hunyuan Alchemy Saint's inheritance is mine. If you don't want to die, then come at me. These people were really short-sighted. Ling Xiao sneered in his heart. Did they really think that the primordial chaos pill saint was dead? If the primordial chaos pill saint had died, then the heart realm of the 9-story pagoda would have dissipated long ago. In other words, the mastermind was still there, but they were already impatiently fighting for the inheritance of the primordial chaos pill saint. Ling Xiao had no intention of reminding them. It was a good opportunity to use these people to test what the mastermind behind the scenes was. You are really biting the hand that feeds you. Ungrateful. Have you forgotten who protected you with the cyclic sky seal? That's why you were able to come to the 9th level. Otherwise, you would have died in the first few levels. Lin Shi sneered. On the 7th and 8th levels, Ling Xiao had used the flipping sky seal to protect hundreds of people. Otherwise, they would have died in the strange bone ash storm. Hearing Lin Shi's words, the faces of the several hundred people immediately revealed an extremely awkward expression, not daring to look Ling Xiao in the eye. But there was still someone who sneered and said, "Protecting us, we're naturally grateful in our hearts. But the inheritance of the primordial chaos pill saint should also belong to us. Him handing it over has no effect on him. I think he clearly wants to take it all for himself." That's right. If you don't hand over the inheritance of the primordial chaos pill saint today, you can forget about leaving here. Everyone was already blinded by greed now. How could they still care so much? In order to obtain the inheritance of the primordial chaos pill saint, even if they had to kill Ling Xiao, they would not hesitate. Moreover, as long as they killed Ling Xiao, who would know that they were ungrateful? Among those who were protected by Ling Xiao, many people's eyes revealed a trace of obscure killing intent. Clang! A resplendent sword light traversed the firmament, as if splitting heaven and earth, instantly separating Ling Xiao from the crowd. Jin Se held an ancient sword in her hand. Her gaze was cold, and her temperament was indifferent. She swept a glance over the crowd and said indifferently, "Those who dare to attack the former die." Among the thousands of experts, only Lin Shi and Jin Se chose to stand on Ling Xiao's side, while the others stood on the opposite side of Ling Xiao. They would not give up until they obtained the inheritance of the primordial chaos pill saint. "Everyone, let's attack together and kill Long Outyan. I swear on the reputation of the 5 Elements Saint sect, that as long as I obtain Long Outyan's primordial spirit and search his soul, I will share the inheritance of the primordial chaos pill saint with everyone." Huang Xuanzong's gaze was extremely cold as he roared. "Good. Kill him. Kill." Everyone sneered. Their eyes were overflowing with killing intent, and the terrifying aura around them rose, causing the dark void to tremble violently. A trace of worry appeared in Lin Shi's eyes. Although Ling Xiao's flipping sky seal was very strong, there were thousands of experts here, and many of them had flawless saint treasures. Could Ling Xiao really defeat so many people? Jin Se's gaze was extremely sharp, as bright as a sword light. Sword essence rose around her, and the ancient sword in her hand hummed as if it was ready to explode with a thunderous attack at any time. "Very well. Since you all want to die, I will fulfill your wish," Ling Xiao said slowly, and there was no trace of emotion in his voice. He suddenly raised his head, and his 2 bright eyes were majestic and mysterious, as if they could pierce through the void in front of him. Rumble! The flipping sky seal suddenly rose into the sky and turned into a black mountain. It was ancient and majestic, and it was extremely terrifying. It suppressed the experts. Ling Xiao took the initiative to attack. Golden divine light rose around him, and the sound of a dragon's roar shook the void. Streaks of purple gas filled the air, and behind him, there were 3,000 worlds. Ling Xiao waved his invincible fist and attacked the experts in front of him. Although he was only a second revolution half-saint, the invincible aura that filled the air made everyone's expression change. They felt as if they were facing an invincible saint. "Everyone, use your saint treasures and follow me to stop the flipping sky seal. As long as we can stop the flipping sky seal, Long Outyan will definitely die." Huang Xuanzong's eyes flashed as he roared. Whoosh! The 5-colored divine light filled his palm, and the 5 elements void-breaking shuttle exuded a powerful saint aura. It flew toward the flipping sky seal, and the divine chains of order traversed the void. The power of the 5 elements reinforced and restrained each other, as if it was going to imprison the flipping sky seal directly. Xiao Rui and Iron-Hearted Ape seemed to have discussed with Huang Xuanzong before. Xiao Rui took out a golden long spear, and the spear shadow covered the sky. It turned into a spear light that could penetrate everything, and shot toward the flipping sky seal. Chapter 1854. Rumble. The void trembled violently. Apart from the three of them, the other high-level sage to be's eyes were blazing as they took out their powerful holy treasures. In an instant, the dark starry sky was completely illuminated. Divine light surged like an ocean. Dozens of powerful holy treasures traversed the sky and blasted towards the flipping sky seal. Although they said that they wanted to kill Ling Xiao, they were still extremely cautious. After all, the flipping sky seal was well known throughout the divine world. It was a top-notch holy treasure, and was known as one of the strongest holy treasures below the ultimate emperor weapon. It had drunk the blood of countless sages. Therefore, they took out their powerful holy treasures and wanted to stop the flipping sky seal. At the same time, all of them rushed towards Ling Xiao. Their eyes were filled with killing intent. They wanted to be the first to kill Ling Xiao, and then capture his primordial spirit. The 9-story pagoda seemed to be isolated from the Void Saint world. It called itself a space. The holy badge was useless here. If one died here, his primordial spirit would not be able to escape. This was the perfect opportunity for them to capture Ling Xiao's primordial spirit and search it. Otherwise, if Ling Xiao left the illusionary saint world immediately after killing him, all their efforts would have been in vain. Boom! Dozens of powerful holy treasures blasted on the flipping sky seal. Terrifying divine light gushed out and drowned the flipping sky seal in an instant. It was like a chaotic explosion. Endless divine light spewed out. The terrifying fluctuation seemed to be able to crush everything, causing the surrounding void to tremble violently. The flipping sky seal and dozens of powerful holy treasures collided in the void. Every collision was like an avalanche, setting off monstrous waves of divine light. Long out Yin Dai. Huang Xuanzong's eyes were blazing as he pressed his palm down towards Ling Xiao. 5-colored divine light spewed out from his palm. The palm print was like a huge will that covered the sky. All the energy in his palm turned into nothingness. It looked extremely terrifying. This was the unique skill of the 5 Elements Saint sect, the 5 Elements Heavenly Wheel. Good timing. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he felt the terrifying aura around Huang Xuanzong. The blood in his body seemed to be boiling as he punched towards Huang Xuanzong. The fist imprint was ancient and mysterious. Chaotic chi lingered around it. When the fist landed, it was as if the illusory image of the 3,000 great worlds appeared. Gods, devils, ghosts, living beings, and all other things appeared behind Ling Xiao, making him look like an invincible celestial emperor. Crack! When the fist and the palm collided, a blazing divine light suddenly exploded. Ling Xiao and Huang Xuanzong both retreated at the same time. Haha again. Ling Xiao's gaze was ice-cold as he stared at Huang Xuanzong and punched out again. How can your physical body be so strong? There was a trace of shock in Huang Xuanzong's eyes. Ling Xiao's cultivation was only at the 2nd Revolution semi-sage realm. However, his fist attack was equally matched with Huang Xuanzong's. Huang Xuanzong had even used the peerless holy technique, 5 Elements Heavenly Wheel. However, he didn't gain any advantage over Ling Xiao. This was unacceptable to him. After all, he was already at the 9th Revolution semi-sage realm. He was the leader of the 5 great holy sons of the 5 Elements Saint sect. He had always thought highly of himself. Apart from a few monstrous geniuses, no one in the same realm was his opponent. He didn't expect that a 2nd Revolution semi-sage Long Outyin would be able to fight him to a draw. There are still many things that you can't imagine. Ling Xiao's gaze was blazing. He instantly let out a long roar that shook the clouds. His entire body soared into the sky. Using the secret teleportation technique, his speed was extremely fast. He instantly passed through several experts who were rushing towards him and punched out at Huang Xuanzong. Boom! The terrifying fist imprint seemed to be able to obliterate everything. It collided with Huang Xuanzong in an instant. This time, Huang Xuanzong was a little absent-minded. He was actually sent flying by Ling Xiao's punch. And you too. Since you want the inheritance of the chaotic essence pill saint, then exchange it with your lives. Ling Zhao's gaze was incomparably cold. In an instant, it fell on Xiao Rui and Tai Xingyuan. A stream of light flashed under his feet. A chaotic mist pervaded the air. His fists intertwined like two golden divine dragons and pressed down on Xiao Rui and Tai Xingyuan. Xiao Rui and Tai Xingyuan couldn't help but change their expressions. They didn't expect that Long Outyin would be so terrifying without the flipping sky seal. This made both of them tremble with fear. However, Ling Zhao's speed was too fast. Thousands of people wanted to besiege Ling Xiao, but he used the secret teleportation technique. In an instant he was tens of thousands of meters away. He shuttled through the crowd as if he was walking on flat ground. No one could catch his figure. Many of the attacks missed. Long Outyin, go to hell! Xiao Rui gritted his teeth. In an instant, his golden long spear flew back to his palm like a stream of light. Then a terrifying saint aura erupted. He stabbed the spear towards Ling Zhao's chest. Tai Xingyuan also called back his purple long staff. His whole body exploded with terrifying power. He raised his long staff and chopped towards Ling Xiao. Suppress. Ling Zhao's gaze was incomparably calm. It was as if he didn't put these two powerful saint treasures in his heart. He shouted softly. In an instant, 9 streams of light flew out from his body. They transformed into 9 ancient tablets filled with chaotic qi. They went towards Xiao Rui and Tai Xingyuan. Heavenly Dao Primal Chaos Tablet. How can this Long Outyin be so lucky? Legend has it that there are 81 Heavenly Dao Primal Chaos Tablets. It's also a set of top-grade saint treasures. It's not weaker than the flipping sky seal. Everyone's eyes turned red. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. Previously, there were rumors that Long Outyin had a Heavenly Dao Primal Chaos Tablet. However, most of them hadn't seen it. Now that they saw Ling Xiao taking out 9 Heavenly Dao Primal Chaos Tablets, it made them feel unbalanced. They were filled with jealousy. Boom. The 9 Heavenly Dao Primal Chaos Tablets bloomed with dazzling light. In an instant, they blocked the golden long spear and purple long staff. Light flashed under Lin Zhao's feet. He directly traversed through the void and appeared in front of Xiao Rui and Tai Xingyuan. Then he punched with both fists. Xiao Rui and Tai Xingyuan couldn't dodge. Their faces were ugly. They could only desperately roar and use all their cultivation to resist. Kacha! With a crisp sound, Xiao Rui and Tai Xingyuan's arms suddenly broke. Then they exploded into a bloody mist in the void. Both of them staggered back. Their eyes were filled with incomparable horror. Kill him! Everyone's eyes were red. Taking advantage of the time when Ling Xiao was fighting with Huang Xuanzong, Xiao Rui, and Iron Heart Ape, they finally formed a huge circle and surrounded Ling Xiao. After that, they all roared and charged towards Ling Xiao. Thousands of experts. Most of them were high-level half-saints. Only a small portion of them were low-level half-saints. If so many experts fought with all their strength, they could even contend against a true saint. Chapter 1855. Rumble. The dark starry sky was completely illuminated. It was as if endless waves were surging and converging into a huge tornado. Ling Xiao was in the center of the storm. The terrifying attacks from all around surged toward him, as if they would drown him at any time. Whoosh! Ling Xiao instantly turned into a dazzling stream of light, using a secret teleportation technique to soar into the sky. However, the divine light that filled the sky gathered above his head like a huge net, as if trying to pull him down from the sky. Break! Ling Xiao said softly. His gaze instantly became incomparably sharp, calm and deep. However, there was no trace of fear in his eyes. Rumble. Translator. Transin editor. Transin the flipping sky seal, which had been entangled with dozens of holy treasures, suddenly released a terrifying emperor's might. It swept across the sky and broke through the divine light. It turned into a streamer and appeared above Ling Zhao's head. Heaven and earth shook violently. The terrifying waves from the flipping sky seal swept out in an instant and annihilated the storm in the sky. Ling Xiao held the flipping sky seal and shot up into the sky like a celestial emperor, pulling up a heavenly pillar. Then he pressed down on the thousands of experts below. What kind of power is this? Everyone was stunned. Their eyes were filled with horror. The joint attack of thousands of experts and dozens of holy treasures was unable to seal the flipping sky seal. The flipping sky seal still rushed out. The power emitted by the flipping sky seal made all of them feel fear from the depths of their souls. Their bodies began to tremble uncontrollably. Whoosh! Whoosh! Jinsei and Lin Shi, who were fighting with several experts, were also affected by the fluctuations. They flew backward at the same time. Fortunately, they were at the edge of the battlefield and were not injured. Jinsei and Lin Shi's battle strength was also very strong. However, everyone's target was Ling Xiao. No one targeted them, so they were not in any danger. After feeling the terrifying power of the flipping sky seal, they were slightly relieved. This was the peerless treasure, the flipping sky seal. It could kill a saint. How could a group of experts resist it? Master, I have found the location of the behind-the-scenes manipulator. He hid so well. If it were not for your battle, I'm afraid we might not have been able to lure him out. Thunder Spirit King's voice sounded in Ling Xiao's mind. Very good. I want to see who would set up such a huge game of chess in the primordial chaos Pill Saint's mystic realm. Ling Xiao's gaze was incomparably sharp, and his entire body emitted an extremely dangerous fluctuation. Whoosh! Ling Xiao held the flipping sky seal in his hand and radiated a dazzling light. The flipping sky seal expanded in the void like a black sun, extremely dazzling. In an instant, it blasted into the depths of the dark void. What is Long Outyan trying to do? Everyone was stunned. When they felt the terrifying aura of the flipping sky seal, they had already given up the idea of attacking. They thought that Ling Xiao would kill them all. Some of them even began to despair. However, to their surprise, Ling Xiao did not target them. Instead, he held the flipping sky seal and launched a thunderous attack into the depths of the void. Crack! Terrifying divine light bloomed. This time, Ling Xiao directly activated the full power of the flipping sky seal. It directly pierced through the void. The void exploded with a loud bang, and cracks appeared in the void, as if leading to another world. What is that? Someone exclaimed. His entire body trembled violently, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. In the distance, in the void that was blasted by Ling Xiao, an extremely terrifying sea of blood appeared. The sea of blood churned and emitted an evil and terrifying fluctuation of power. Wails of ghosts and howls of wolves could be heard, causing everyone to tremble. The sea of blood churned and condensed into a blood-red demonic face. It looked extremely ferocious and evil, and it stared directly at Ling Xiao. Lowly ant, you can actually discover me? A cold voice resounded in the void. It was like a thunderclap, rumbling loudly. Who exactly are you? The primordial chaos Pill Saint's obsession has already disappeared. Logically speaking, the heart realm of the 9-story pagoda should have been broken. However, you are controlling everything behind the scenes. If I'm not wrong, the fact that the primordial chaos Pill Saint's obsession could survive until now has something to do with you, right? Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of seriousness as he stared at the blood-red demonic face and asked, What? It's the mastermind behind the scenes? Everyone was shocked. Even Huang Xuanzong, Xiao Rui, and Tai Xingyuan's faces turned extremely ugly. They were still thinking about how to compete with Ling Xiao for the inheritance of the primordial chaos Pill Saint. However, they did not expect that all of this was a trap, a huge conspiracy. Lowly human, I'm getting more and more curious about you. With your cultivation base, you can actually detect all of this. It seems that you have a secret on you. Well, when I capture all of you, I'll naturally be able to obtain your secret. The blood-red demonic face laughed sinisterly. Its voice sounded a little creepy. The monstrous blood chi spread out, causing the surrounding void to tremble violently. This is the eternal world of blood? The eternal world of blood is the demon clan's superpower that the primordial chaos Pill Saint cultivated. Legend has it that it is extremely ominous. I didn't expect it to give birth to such a freak like you. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of cold killing intent. He saw the last scene in the sealed memory of the primordial chaos Pill Saint. The primordial chaos Pill Saint unleashed the eternal world of blood and massacred everyone. Regardless of whether it was the disciples of the Sun Moon Pill sect or the experts of the demon clan, they all died in the eternal world of blood. Ling Xiao did not expect the eternal world of blood to exist and give birth to such a terrifying freak. The demonic face gave Ling Xiao the feeling that it was comparable to a supreme saint. It exuded a vast and terrifying aura. It was extremely strange. Ignorant humans, how can you understand the greatness of this seat? I am immortal and indestructible. I control the heavens and the myriad of worlds. All living things are just food for me. You won't be surprised. The blood-red demonic face sneered and instantly pounced on Ling Xiao and the others. Rumble. The sea of blood surged violently. The terrifying blood light instantly covered the dark starry sky. It seemed as if the world in front of everyone had turned into a blood-red world. The aura of the blood-red demonic face was extremely terrifying. It was as if it wanted to devour everyone. The sea of blood surged violently. In an instant, rays of blood-red light appeared from within, forming many blood-red demonic shadows. They were extremely ferocious and terrifying. They pounced towards the crowd from all directions. Chapter 1856. The boundless blood sea rose with surging waves, emitting a strange crimson light. Mysterious crimson demonic shadows flew out from the blood sea, each of them exuding a terrifying aura. The blood-red demonic face stared at Ling Xiao. Its eyes filled with cold, murderous intent. It opened its mouth and shot out rays of blood-red light, forming an extremely powerful blood-red vortex that swallowed Ling Xiao. I'd like to see what you are. Ling Xiao sneered. His eyes were sharp. The flipping sky seal buzzed in his palm. Powerful saint aura burst out and shrouded his entire body. Swoosh. Ling Xiao leaped into the sky, holding the flipping sky seal in his hand. He unleashed the ultimate power of the flipping sky seal and pressed it down on the crimson demonic face. Boom. Streaks of black light rose from the flipping sky seal. They were like black lightning, overbearing and majestic. They contained the power to destroy evil and kill demons. Suddenly, the sea of blood in the sky collapsed and crashed into the demonic face. The demonic face suddenly exploded and turned into a cloud of blood mist. It was as if it could not withstand a single blow. It was no match for the flipping sky seal at all, and turned into ashes. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed, and he did not dare to relax. Suddenly, he felt a sense of danger behind him. Without hesitation, he used the secret skill of teleportation, and appeared tens of thousands of feet away in an instant. Boom. At Ling Xiao's original position, a huge crimson wave rose to the sky. The crimson light rose and condensed, forming a gigantic demonic face, which was full of mockery. Ant, you will never understand my greatness. The demonic face sneered. In an instant, hundreds of millions of crimson demonic shadows emerged from the blood sea, and pounced on Ling Xiao from all directions. Bang! 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 Translator. Transin editor. Transin the flipping sky seal formed a huge saintly way boundary around Ling Xiao. The crimson demonic shadows crashed into the boundary and exploded, causing ripples to appear on the boundary. At the same time, the crimson light was extremely strange. It seemed to have a mind of its own, and wanted to drill into the boundary. Crack! However, black lightning rose around the flipping sky seal, and struck the crimson light into nothingness. However, the others were not as lucky as Ling Xiao. A sea of blood pervaded the surroundings. Blood-red demonic shadows rose up one after another. These blood-red demonic shadows were extremely strange. Not only were they extremely fast, but they also contained a kind of fluctuation that could make people lose their minds. Several experts of the semi-sage realm were pounced on by these blood-red demonic shadows in an instant. The essence and blood in their bodies immediately dissipated. Their entire bodies fell into the sea of blood, and not even their bones remained. These crimson demonic shadows are afraid of the power of yang astral force. Everyone, use your fire and lightning Dao skills to attack. Lin Shi's eyes flashed with a divine light, and she shouted loudly. Rumble. Everyone immediately calmed down. Their eyes were full of monstrous fighting spirit. One after another, they performed powerful magic. Flames and lightning filled the sky and shrouded the crimson demonic shadows. Sure enough, as Lin Shi had expected, although these blood-red demonic shadows were evil and strange, they were afraid of the power of Yang. Under the power of the lightning and flames, they were reduced to nothingness. Roar! Roar! However, before everyone could rejoice, their hearts sank again. They saw that after the crimson demonic shadows disappeared, the sea of blood boiled, and the heavens and the earth shook. Unexpectedly, more demonic shadows condensed from the sea of blood, and then pounced on everyone. It was as if they could never be killed. The sea of blood was the source of life for these crimson demonic shadows. Damn it! What the hell are these crimson demonic shadows? Why can't they be killed? An extremely ugly expression appeared on someone's face as he spoke in a somewhat discouraged manner. Although these crimson demonic shadows were not so strong that they could not contend with them, they were constantly resurrecting in the sea of blood. At this rate, everyone's cultivation would be exhausted sooner or later. At that time, they would probably become lambs waiting to be slaughtered. More pressure was on Ling Xiao's side. Almost all of the crimson demonic face's attention was on Ling Xiao. It was as if there was something on Ling Xiao that attracted him and made him want to kill him. Rumble! Streaks of blood-red light collided with the flipping sky seal like cannonballs and exploded like fireworks. However, there were traces of strange blood chi that kept trying to corrode the insides of the flipping sky seal like corpses. Master, this is not good. These streaks of bloodlight are extremely strange. They can actually corrode holy treasures. At this rate, even if the flipping sky seal is a top holy treasure, it will be damaged. We have to find a way to get out of here. Thunder Spirit King's anxious voice sounded in Ling Xiao's heart. The crimson demonic face's strength was too terrifying. Ling Xiao did not know what kind of existence it was. It could actually control the bloodway origin. The corrosive power was so terrifying that even the flipping sky seal could not withstand it. Thunder Spirit King, you just pierced through the void and opened the eternal world of blood. Are you confident that the flipping sky seal can break the 9-story pagoda and open the barrier between the void saint world and the 9-story pagoda? Ling Xiao asked. This was the most important question. It was because of the barrier between the 9-story pagoda and the void saint world that the holy badges between everyone's eyebrows could not be used. Therefore, if they died here, they would really die. If they could open the barrier, even if they were killed by the sea of blood, they would have a chance to escape with the help of the holy badges. It's difficult. However, we can give it a try. If we activate the Extreme Emperor's power of the flipping sky seal, we might be able to break the barrier of the 9-story pagoda. However, the most important thing is to find the real body of the crimson demonic face. Thunder Spirit King said slowly. The real body of the crimson demonic face? He has indeed hidden himself well. However, does he really think that the eternal world of blood alone can keep me here? Ling Xiao sneered. His eyes were extremely deep as he looked at a place in the depths of the blood sea. There seemed to be a mysterious fluctuation that the wordless heavenly book yearned for and looked forward to. Although Ling Xiao could not sense it, he believed that the wordless heavenly book's senses could sense that the real body of the crimson demonic face was there. Swoosh! Just as another demonic shadow pounced on Ling Xiao instantly activated the flipping sky seal and shot up into the sky. Streaks of golden thunderbolts flashed around him and shattered all the demonic shadows. Rumble. Translator. Transin editor. Transin the flipping sky seal shone brightly and dazzlingly. It floated above the boundless blood sea like a towering mountain. Ling Xiao stood on the flipping sky seal. With a thought, the flipping sky seal rumbled across the sky and crashed into the depths of the blood sea. I would like to see if you are a human or a ghost. Ling Xiao's voice was extremely cold, and there seemed to be a blazing sword radiance flashing in his eyes. Chapter 1857. Rumble. The blood sea began to boil violently. Blood-red waves rushed to the sky and swept toward the flipping sky seal, as if to block its path. The blood-red demonic face looked flustered and exasperated. Its eyes were filled with viciousness and anger. It seems like I've found the right place. Ling Xiao smiled coldly. The flipping sky seal buzzed and vibrated. A terrifying wave of energy emanated from it. A vast emperor's aura erupted. Chaotic chi rose, as if it was going to suppress the heavens. It contained an unstoppable and invincible aura. The sky was filled with crimson light. The flipping sky seal was like a stabilizing needle. It pierced into the depths of the blood sea. The blood sea on both sides dispersed and exploded with terrifying waves. It was suppressed into nothingness by the flipping sky seal. At this moment, the power of the flipping sky seal seemed to have increased by 100 or 1,000 times. The blood-red demonic face was flustered and exasperated. This is not a holy treasure. This is Extreme Emperor's aura? The blood-red demonic face stared at Ling Xiao in disbelief. There was even a hint of greed in its eyes. Crack. It seemed that some kind of restriction had been broken. In the depths of the blood sea, brilliant light shone. Great Tao petals danced and runes circled around. The Tao rhymes were ethereal and mysterious. A bright ball of light appeared. It was red like blood. It was like a flesh fetus. It vibrated continuously as if it was nurturing some kind of terrifying creature. A blood-red devil fetus. When Ling Xiao saw the devil fetus, a solemn expression appeared on his face. The blood-red devil fetus was too terrifying. Blood-red runes flashed as if it was the origin of the eternal world of blood. Every time it beat, it would devour the surrounding energy. However, the flipping sky seal's attack had broken the heart realm of the 9-story pagoda and connected the eternal world of blood and the void saint world. Rumble. The heavens and earth trembled. The saint badges between everyone's eyebrows began to shine brightly again. The 9-story pagoda collapsed and everyone appeared in the origin mystery realm again. Haha. We're out. We're finally out. Let's get out of here quickly. What kind of monster is that? Asked the sages of the sect to come and kill the demon. Everyone who had been bitterly battling the Crimson Spectre suddenly discovered that the 9-story pagoda had shattered, and they had left the mysterious world. Immediately, their faces became wild with joy. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At this moment, no one cared about the battle anymore. They all turned into streams of light and flew out of the primal chaos secret realm. You all deserve to die. A cold and furious voice exploded in the void. Rumble. A resplendent blood-red sun rose into the sky, emitting an incomparably terrifying light. It bobbed up and down in the sea of blood. There seemed to be an incomparably mysterious blood-red figure within it, emitting an aura that made one's heart tremble. The demonic face was thoroughly enraged. It did not expect the cyclic sky seal to be so terrifying that even the heart realm of the 9-story pagoda could not withstand a single blow and collapse so easily. Most importantly, Ling Xiao had found the location of its real body, which made it even more furious. The blood-red sun suddenly pressed down, and streaks of blood-red demonic light shot towards the crowd, containing an aura that could destroy everything. Everyone's face changed drastically, and they all fled in all directions. However, in the face of such terrifying power, they did not have the slightest chance to escape. They were instantly shot by the blood-red demonic light, and then their entire bodies exploded. They were swept into the sea of blood and merged into it. Buzz. However, silver holy badges lit up, and in an instant, their primordial spirits were swept up and directly left the void saint world. Although many people did not die under the blood-red demonic light, they were scared out of their wits and chose to commit suicide, leaving the void saint world. You all go, don't worry about me. Ling Xiao transmitted his voice to Lin Shi and Jin Sei, asking them to leave first. Lin Shi and Jin Sei had powerful sage treasures on them, so it was not a big deal. Originally, they were still a little hesitant, but after hearing Ling Xiao's words, they nodded and instantly turned to fly out of the primal chaos secret realm. Damn it! Now that this bastard is dead, the primal chaos pill saint's legacy is really going to end. Huang Xuanzong, Xiao Rui, and Tai Xingyuan looked at Ling Xiao with hatred. They were extremely unwilling to accept this, but they did not dare to stay any longer. At this moment, Ling Xiao was being targeted by the blood-red demonic fetus. Streaks of blood-red light, like divine chains of order, traversed the void and formed a huge blood net, sealing Ling Xiao and the flipping sky seal in it. Aren't you afraid that I will also commit suicide? Ling Xiao looked at the blood-red demonic face with interest, and his eyes were filled with a strange light. You can try. I didn't make them stay, not because I can't, but because I don't want to. However, I can still do it if I try my best to make your primordial spirit stay. Ant of the human clan, since you dare to ruin my plans, you shall pay with your life. The blood-red demonic face seemed to be on the verge of rage. The murderous intent in its eyes was like the sea, boiling and surging, causing the surrounding void to tremble violently. Is that so? Then give it a try. Ling Xiao said calmly, and his eyes became sharper. At the same time, he felt that the wordless heavenly book was getting more and more excited, as if the blood-red demonic fetus in front of him was very important to the wordless heavenly book. However, Ling Xiao was still very cautious, because he still could not figure out the background of the blood-red demonic fetus. Rumble. The blood-red demonic face flashed and instantly integrated into the blood-red demonic fetus. Streaks of divine chains of order soared into the sky, bursting out terrifying and dazzling fluctuations, and shot toward the vital parts of Ling Xiao's body. Thunder Spirit King felt the terrifying fluctuations of the blood-red demonic fetus, and he also began to fight desperately. Streaks of lightning burst out, and the flipping sky seal and the blood-red demonic fetus fought fiercely. Every time, terrifying fluctuations of divine light burst out, like stormy waves. Kill. Ling Xiao's eyes were like iron, and the terrifying aura around him burst out. Once again he activated the Extreme Emperor's power in the flipping sky seal. In an instant, the heavens and the earth cracked and chaos rose. It was like the scene of the creation of the world, causing the void to tremble violently. With Ling Xiao's current cultivation, he could only activate the Extreme Emperor's power of the flipping sky seal about 3 times. After that, his cultivation would be exhausted, and it would be difficult for him to continue. This was the last time, but also the most powerful attack of the flipping sky seal. Crack! Chapter 1858. The Crimson Demon Fetus seemed to be unable to withstand such a terrifying attack. A crack appeared on it, and the blood-red runes exploded. Blood spilled out, shattering the surrounding void. How can you burst out such a powerful force? The Crimson Demon face turned pale with fright. His eyes were filled with disbelief, and he tried to escape by riding the bloody light in the sky. Ling Xiao's face turned pale, but his eyes were extremely bright. The flipping sky seal flashed and stopped the demon fetus. Ling Xiao used the secret skill of teleportation, and came directly in front of the Crimson Demon fetus. He slapped the demon fetus and began to use the secret skill of devouring to devour the power of the Crimson Demon fetus. Ling Xiao suddenly looked to the side, and found that the Crimson Demon fetus was empty. There was not a trace of energy in it. At the same time, he felt an extremely strong sense of danger. Immediately, the surrounding space trembled, and an extremely obscure blood-red light exploded before his eyes. In an instant, an extremely terrifying demonic face appeared. Then it laughed coldly and directly charged into the space between his eyebrows. "Ant, you've been fooled. When I devour your primordial spirit, I'd like to see if your flipping sky seal magic treasure can still protect your primordial spirit." The demon face sneered. Almost as soon as he finished speaking, he had already entered Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness. It turned out that he had used the golden cicada, shedding its carapace technique. On the surface, he had lured Ling Xiao to chase after him, but in fact, the energy in the demon fetus had been hidden. Once Ling Xiao was distracted, he would launch a killing blow. Speaking of which, the demon fetus was very depressed. Originally, with its strength, killing a half-saint was no different from killing an ant. Even if it had a holy treasure, it would be useless. However, the flipping sky seal was not an ordinary holy treasure. It could burst out with Extreme Emperor's might, which made the demon fetus very wary. Therefore he had to use this trick. But now, the demon fetus had entered Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness. In his opinion, Ling Xiao had no power to resist. "Are you so sure that you can defeat me?" Ling Xiao's expression was extremely calm. There was not a trace of panic on his face. Instead, there was a trace of sarcasm in his voice. Rumble. Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness began to tremble. The blood-red light that was spewing out of the devil fetus actually dissipated into nothingness. An ancient heavenly tome hovered in the air, radiating with a dignified, mysterious, and ancient presence. It protected Ling Xiao's soul firmly. This is the wordless heavenly book? The devil fetus trembled violently, his eyes filled with disbelief. How could you possibly have the wordless heavenly book? Why is this chaos treasure in the hands of an ant like you? The devil fetus finally began to panic. He was even a little flustered. The aura emitted by the wordless heavenly book made it instinctively feel fear. Without even thinking, it wanted to escape from Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness. Since you're here, then stay, Ling Xiao said indifferently. Boom. The wordless heavenly book flashed and sealed off the demon fetus' escape route in an instant. Mysterious rays of light fell from the wordless heavenly book, as dazzling as jade. However, to the devil fetus, those rays of light were like deadly poisons. They instantly pierced into the devil fetus and began to devour the energy within the devil fetus. Lowly ant, I don't accept this, I don't accept this. The devil fetus roared wildly, his eyes filled with terror. However, no matter how much he screamed, threatened, or even begged for mercy and submitted to Ling Xiao remained unmoved. His gaze was indifferent. Rumble. Under the imprisonment of the wordless heavenly book, the devil fetus could not resist at all. The vast blood-way origin energy in his body was integrated into the wordless heavenly book. However, the devil fetus' understanding of the blood-way origin energy was also absorbed and refined by Ling Xiao. What exactly is this devil fetus? How can it possess such terrifying power? Ling Xiao was a little shaken, his eyes filled with disbelief. As he devoured the devil fetus, he realized that the wordless heavenly book seemed to be perfected again. The majestic blood-way power was endless, as if it was the gathering of the blood essence of billions of living beings. Ling Xiao was extremely shocked. Even with the wordless heavenly book's terrifying devouring power, it still took a few days to completely refine the devil fetus. This devil fetus is a monster nurtured in the eternal world of blood? I never thought that I would break the obsession of the Origin Chaos Pill Saint and release such a monster. After Ling Xiao had completely devoured the devil fetus, especially the majestic primordial spirit power of the devil fetus, Ling Xiao understood a little. It turned out that the Origin Chaos Pill Saint had used the Blood Emperor's supreme technique, the eternal world of blood, to save the Sun Moon Pill sect. However, he had no way of controlling the power of the eternal world of blood. As a result, he had devoured the Longbrow Taoist and everyone in the Sun Moon Pill sect. After that battle, the Origin Chaos Pill Saint had awakened from his chaotic state. When he recalled what he had done, he was devastated. He hurriedly built the Origin Mystery Realm, left behind the legacy of the Sun Moon Pill sect, and hid it in the heart realm of the 9-story pagoda. However, what the Origin Chaos Pill Saint did not know was that his life had completely disappeared because of the eternal world of blood. All that was left was his obsession to revive the Sun Moon Pill sect and find a successor. As a result, the devil fetus of the eternal world of blood had trapped itself in a cocoon. Although it had devoured the life of the Origin Chaos Pill Saint and gained intelligence, it had been trapped in the eternal world of blood because of the Origin Chaos Pill Saint's obsession. It was because Ling Xiao had solved the mystery that the Origin Chaos Pill Saint's obsession had disappeared. That was how the devil fetus had been born. And what had happened afterward? Could this devil fetus be the will left behind by the primordial Blood Emperor? Otherwise, why would such a monster appear in the eternal world of blood? Ling Xiao's heart shuddered. He had also received the legacy of the eternal world of blood, and understood the power and terror of the eternal world of blood. However, when he thought of the Origin Chaos Pill Saint's fate, he found it hard to accept. He absolutely could not cultivate in the eternal world of blood. Otherwise, he was afraid that something ominous would happen. The Sun Moon Pill Scripture and the Origin Heart Pill Scripture. Is this the complete legacy? Ling Xiao slowly opened his eyes. There was a glimmer of light in his eyes. The Sun Moon Pill Scripture was the peerless legacy of the Sun Moon Pill sect. It contained the supreme technique of the alchemy Tao. The Origin Heart Pill Scripture was the life's essence and wisdom of the Origin Chaos Pill Saint. Although it was not necessarily comparable to the Sun Moon Pill Scripture, it contained the Origin Heart Pill Scripture. It was also extremely precious. These two supreme classics of the alchemy Tao were now in Ling Xiao's hands. Chapter 1859. Everyone had already left the immemorial mystery realm. This mystic realm had been completely destroyed. Although the devil fetus had been killed by Ling Xiao in the end, the sea of blood had drowned everything. The magnificent buildings left behind by the Sun Moon Elixir sect had also disappeared into the sea of blood. The last traces of the Sun Moon Alchemy sect and the immemorial mystery realm alchemy saint had also disappeared. Only the inheritance had not been severed and had fallen into Ling Xiao's hands. The immemorial mystery realm alchemy saint was also a tragic figure. He had deep feelings for the Sun Moon Alchemy sect and the Long Eyebrow Taoist, but in the end, the Sun Moon Alchemy sect and the Long Eyebrow Taoist had been destroyed in his hands. As a result, he could not accept this fact and his obsession had remained. To a certain extent, the immemorial mystery realm alchemy saint could be considered as an alternative to achieving immortality. Ling Xiao sat cross-legged in the immemorial mystery realm. The Sun Moon Alchemy Sutra and the Immemorial Heart Alchemy Sutra, the two supreme classics, had been integrated into Ling Xiao's primordial spirit. His primordial spirit had become increasingly clear and had a mysterious Tao rhyme. These two supreme classics not only contain the mystery of alchemy Tao and heart Tao, but also the immemorial mystery realm alchemy saint's lifetime comprehension. After Ling Xiao had refined these two supreme classics, it was as if he had obtained the immemorial mystery realm alchemy saint's lifetime experience. His attainments in alchemy Tao had also improved by leaps and bounds. Many elixirs seemed to be at his fingertips. Many alchemy Tao principles that he had previously found obscure were now easily understood. It's time to leave. Ling Xiao slowly opened his eyes. There was a trace of mysterious light flickering in his eyes, and a strange Tao rhyme pervaded his entire body. Although the immemorial mystery realm seemed to be incomparably dangerous, it contained monstrous opportunities and fortunes. Ling Xiao had devoured the devil fetus. Not only had he obtained these two supreme classics and comprehended the origin of alchemy Tao, but he had also obtained the bloodway origin power in the devil fetus. The accumulation of the half-saint realm was of great use to achieving immortality. The true meaning of the holy way comprehended in the half-saint realm had hope of condensing a Tao fruit after achieving immortality. The stronger the accumulation, the more Tao fruits condensed, and naturally, the stronger one's strength. Whoosh! Ling Xiao leaped up and turned into a stream of light, flying out of the immemorial mystery realm. Outside the primordial chaos mystic realm, Lin Shi and Jin Se stood side by side, looking at the entrance of the mystic realm, waiting for Ling Xiao to come out. You're finally out. Where is the blood sea devil fetus? After seeing Ling Xiao come out, Lin Shi's eyes revealed a trace of joy as she hurriedly walked up and asked, I've already destroyed the blood sea devil fetus. Let's leave this place quickly. The pill talisman ceremony is about to begin. Ling Xiao said with a smile. Alchemy and talisman ceremony? Long Outyin, what does the pill talisman ceremony have to do with you? Are you going to participate in the pill talisman ceremony too? Lin Shi glanced at Ling Xiao suspiciously. Ling Xiao was stunned. He could not help but laugh bitterly. He had forgotten that his current identity was Long Outyin and not Zhao Ritian. He had almost been exposed. Ha ha ha. I also heard about it from him. The alchemy talisman ceremony is a grand event in the divine world. Who doesn't know about it? Let's leave the void sacred world first. Ling Xiao chuckled. If you want to participate in the pill talisman ceremony, you can come to Taishan City to find me. Jin Se suddenly raised her head and said faintly. All right. If there's a chance, I'll definitely go and take a look. Ling Xiao said with a smile. However, he was instantly excited. It turned out that Jin Se was really in Taishan City. This meant that even if he left the void sacred world, he could still see Jin Se again. Ling Xiao, Jin Se, and Lin Shi returned to the starting ground together. At the starting ground, the blind old Taoist carried the crippled monk on his back and continued to shout in the square. The only difference was that there was now a little monk beside him who was carrying a banner. After seeing Ling Xiao, the little monk's face suddenly revealed an extremely happy expression. However, Ling Xiao secretly transmitted a message to him, telling him not to come over for the time being. Although the little monk was a little confused, he obediently agreed. Ling Xiao bid farewell to Lin Shi and Jin Sei. After watching the two of them disappear into the void sacred world, he walked towards the little monk. Boy, you really obtained the inheritance of the origin alchemy saint? However, it seems that things didn't go so smoothly for you this time. Is there going to be a bloody disaster? Come. Let this old Taoist tell your fortune to ward off evil spirits. I guarantee that you will be able to turn misfortune into good fortune. The blind old Taoist's nose twitched slightly as he suddenly said with a little surprise. Do you have a dog's nose? How can you know what I experienced in the origin secret realm? Old man, you tricked me again. There was a demon fetus in the origin secret realm. I almost died at the hands of the demon fetus. Ling Xiao said with an unfriendly look as he stared at the blind old Taoist. Demon fetus? After listening to Ling Xiao's story, the blind old Taoist's face revealed a trace of surprise and also a little dignified. It seems that at the end of the era, all kinds of monsters have jumped out. Even the Blood Emperor of the ancient times left behind a backup plan. Boy, since you obtained the inheritance of the origin alchemy saint, you must have also obtained the cultivation method of the eternal world of blood. Remember, don't cultivate the eternal world of blood. The blind old Taoist warned in a very solemn voice. What is the eternal world of blood? Ling Xiao asked curiously. In the ancient times, the ancestor of the blood world, the Blood Emperor, died in battle. However, he left behind the cultivation method of the eternal world of blood. The Blood Emperor had already cultivated the blood doctrine to the peak of perfection. Anyone who cultivates the eternal world of blood will encounter misfortune and backlash. Legend has it that the Blood Emperor wanted to use the eternal world of blood to revive. Therefore, even the true sages don't dare to touch the eternal world of blood. The blind old Taoist said slowly. The eternal world of blood has such a terrifying origin? Alright. However, you have to remember that the origin secret realm this time doesn't count. Your information was inaccurate and almost got me killed. The next time I come to the void sacred world, you have to tell me more about the ancient sage's secret realm. Ling Xiao said as he stared at the blind old Taoist. The blind old Taoist's identity was not simple. Cripple Monk was the founder of the Wisdom Temple and was a figure from the ancient times. The blind old Taoist was very likely to be one of the ancient sages. Ling Xiao naturally did not want to let go of such a person who knew the inside of the void sacred world so easily. Rascal, you are simply too greedy. The blind old Taoist was so angry that his beard was in a mess. I don't care. Who asked your information to be inaccurate? Huineng, are you going to continue cultivating with senior wisdom, or are you going back with me? Ling Xiao snorted and looked at the little monk as he asked. The founder has already passed the Prajnaparamita Heart Sutra to me. I will go back with you, the little monk said with a smile. Alright. Chapter 1860. Ling Xiao and the little monk left the Void Saint realm. This time, we actually stayed in the Void Saint realm for more than 10 days. We almost missed the alchemy talisman ceremony. Fortunately, we came back in time. In the secret chamber, Ling Xiao and the little monk opened their eyes. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of emotion. Tomorrow was the alchemy talisman ceremony. This time, he spent a long time in the chaotic secret realm. Although the process was extremely thrilling, in the end, Ling Xiao still gained a lot. In the herb garden, he obtained 9 origin sacred herbs. In the Saint Liquid Galaxy, he condensed hundreds of origin elixirs. In the core of the 9-story pagoda, he obtained the inheritance of the Alchemy Saint and the Sun and Moon Alchemy clan. To put it bluntly, Ling Xiao was now a powerful alchemy saint. With the lifetime experience and understanding of the Alchemy Saint, Ling Xiao's level of alchemy had also reached an unimaginable level. Ling Xiao lived in the Apricot Blossom Tower, but he could feel that the atmosphere of the entire Taishan city had become a little tense. The city defense matrix of Taishan City was called the Taishan 9 Heavens Matrix. At this moment it was completely activated. The entire Taishan city was dazzling. It was surrounded by 9-colored divine light. It looked like a heavenly palace. There were 9 worlds surrounding it, mysterious and unpredictable. The Taishan 9 Heavens matrix was very terrifying. It was set up by several great ancestors of Alchemy Seal Mountain. Even if a real saint dared to rashly enter it, there was no doubt that he would die. The Taishan 9 Heavens matrix was activated at this moment. It could also be seen that Alchemy Seal Mountain attached great importance to this alchemy talisman ceremony. In Taishan City, talented cultivators from all the heavens in the divine realm had almost filled up the inns in Taishan City. Although there were many alchemy grandmasters and even extraordinary figures like the alchemy saints, there were also many talented cultivators with powerful cultivation, who came here to broaden their horizons and see if there were any alchemy grandmasters and talisman grandmasters who were worth recruiting. Originally, Zhao Ritian became a 9-star alchemy grandmaster in one fell swoop and became famous throughout Taishan City. However, in the past half a month, Zhao Ritian had not appeared. Coupled with the fact that more and more alchemy and talisman masters had entered Taishan City, Zhao Ritian was gradually forgotten by everyone. Many alchemy geniuses and talisman geniuses had appeared in the world. They had become popular candidates for the champion of the alchemy talisman ceremony. Everyone was discussing spiritedly. The atmosphere was very lively. Everyone was guessing who would be the champion of the alchemy talisman ceremony. Ling Xiao naturally did not care about this. Although he had returned from the void sacred world, he did not come out of seclusion. Instead, he continued to cultivate in the secret chamber and digest the Hunyuan alchemy saint's inheritance. The next day, the bright sun shone through the sky and fell on the earth, dyeing Taishan City pure gold. Clang, clang, clang. A total of 9 ancient and melodious bells rang out, which immediately alarmed everyone in Taishan City. Everyone's eyes were filled with excitement as they rushed to the center of Taishan City. The city lord's mansion in the center of Taishan City was where the ceremony of alchemy and talisman would be held. Ling Xiao and the little monk also left the secret chamber. They immediately saw Lu Wenlong and Lu Qinghuan outside the secret chamber, who were already very anxious. "Brother Zhao, you have finally come out of seclusion." Lu Wenlong immediately breathed a sigh of relief when he saw Ling Xiao. His eyes were full of surprise. "Zhao Ritian, you sure can keep your composure. There are many alchemy geniuses in this alchemy talisman ceremony. I am afraid it will not be so easy for you to win the championship." Lu Qinghuan also said with a smile. "It doesn't matter. They are all useless people. The champion of alchemy in this alchemy talisman ceremony will definitely be me," Ling Xiao said with a faint smile. His expression was very calm, but his voice revealed a strong fluctuation of confidence. "You are just bragging. My brother Lin Shi and Xiao Rui all have hopes of winning the championship. This time, the personal disciple of our Mount Alchemy Talisman Master has also come out of seclusion. He is the favorite to win the championship this time. You have no hope." Lu Qinghuan curled his lips and said, "Brother Zhao, my sister is right. You may have hopes of defeating Lin Shi and Xiao Rui, but the disciple of the Mount Alchemy Talisman Master is really strong. He has the same peerless talent as Lin Shi, but he also has a kind of origin source flame. Although he is only a 9-star alchemy grandmaster, he can refine a supreme divine pill," Lu Wenlong said seriously. "Origin source flame? What kind of origin source flame is it?" Ling Xiao was slightly taken aback. In the immortal realm, there were the divine flame, saint flame, and origin source flame. The divine flame and saint flame were already considered very powerful, but the origin source flame contained the origin of the great Tao, and even had the power to turn something rotten into something magical. All origin source flames were born from heaven and earth, nurtured by the sun and moon, and formed by fate. If one could obtain an origin source flame, it would be extremely beneficial for one to become a saint. Number 301st on the origin list, Xiantian origin source flame. Lu Wenlong said slowly. "It can actually be on the origin list? It is indeed extraordinary." Ling Xiao nodded. Although the origin source flame was born from heaven and earth, there were a total of 360 kinds of origin source flames since ancient times. The Xiantian origin source flame was ranked number 301st on the origin list, which was indeed extremely extraordinary. In addition to the Mountain Master's disciple, there is another person you need to pay attention to. He may be your strongest opponent other than the Mountain Master's disciple. Lu Wenlong suddenly said. Oh, who is it? Ling Xiao asked curiously. Ling Xiao. Lu Wenlong said seriously. Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat, and he almost thought that he had heard wrongly. His eyes widened as he looked at Lu Wenlong in disbelief. The person I'm talking about is called Ling Xiao. Brother Xiao, you don't know, but Ling Xiao is naturally close to fire, and his attainments in alchemy are extremely high. He also became a 9-star alchemy grandmaster in the Dan Talisman College by refining the 5 elements divine pill. But did you know? The time he took to refine the 5 elements divine pill was less than half of yours. Lu Wenlong said with a solemn expression, and his eyes were filled with incomparable amazement. Cough, cough, cough. The person you're talking about, Ling Xiao, is actually so powerful. It seems that I really need to see it for myself. Ling Xiao coughed lightly, and his expression was a little strange. Although there should be quite a few people who shared the same name as him in the immortal realm, the sudden appearance of such a genius in alchemy made him somewhat uneasy. Ling Xiao even had some suspicions about the origins of this person called Ling Xiao. You will naturally see him during the Dan Talisman ceremony later. Brother Xiao, look. He is Ling Xiao. Lu Wenlong said with a faint smile. Suddenly, a glint flashed in his eyes as he saw a figure coming out of a small courtyard. Lu Wenlong quickly said. Ling Xiao suddenly turned his head, and when he saw the figure, his face revealed an expression as if he had seen a ghost. Chapter 1861. It was a young man wearing a reddish-gold armor. His body was slender and strong, and his face was extraordinarily handsome. His entire body was surrounded by blazing flames. There was a flame mark between his eyebrows, which added to his mysteriousness and majesty. On his shoulder, there was a small red bird. Although it looked very ordinary, it had 3 legs. Its eyes were extremely intelligent, and it was looking around curiously. When the young man saw Ling Xiao, his eyes widened in disbelief. Zhao Ritian. Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao and the young man said at the same time. Who else could the young man in the reddish-gold armor be other than Zhao Ritian? Ling Xiao's eyes were filled with shock, excitement, and complicated emotions. He had never thought that he would meet Zhao Ritian here. Wasn't the gate of the realm of God closed? Why would Zhao Ritian appear in the realm of God? Ling Xiao also realized that Zhao Ritian's cultivation was higher than his. He had already reached the 7th revolution half-saint. If Zhao Ritian had come to the realm of God, then how were his parents and the people from the Changsun sect? Ling Xiao had many questions in his heart that he wanted to ask Zhao Ritian. However, he knew that now was not the time. You two know each other? Lu Qingwan asked curiously. She did not notice the slip of the tongue between Ling Xiao and Zhao Ritian. She did not know that the two of them had unintentionally revealed each other's real names. Cough cough. Of course I know Master Ling Xiao. Master Ling Xiao's talent is extraordinary. He is one of a kind. I, Zhao Ritian, am ashamed of my inferiority. Ling Xiao coughed softly and looked at Zhao Ritian with a faint smile. Zhao Ritian also reacted. He understood the importance of the relationship between the two of them. He knew that their real identities could not be revealed. Instantly he laughed and said, Master Zhao is right. Zhao Ritian is a peerless genius that I, Ling Xiao, have never seen in my life. He is the number 1 person in the realm of God. I, Ling Xiao, am just a speck of dust. How can I be compared to Zhao Ritian? Zhao Ritian's eyes flashed with hostility as he thought to himself, damn it, this bastard dares to take advantage of me? How can I let him have his way? What are you talking about, Master Ling? Your martial arts talent is exceptional. We are of similar age, but you have far surpassed me. I, Zhao Ritian, am like a firefly compared to you. How would I dare to compete with you? Ling Xiao said with a smile. Grandmaster Zhao, you're the one who's being polite. Not only is Grandmaster Zhao's talent unparalleled, but he is also handsome and elegant with an extraordinary bearing. I, Ling Xiao, admire Grandmaster Zhao the most. The smile on Zhao Ritian's face stiffened. He clenched his teeth and said, I, Zhao Ritian, am not as good as Ling Xiao. I, Ling Xiao, am nothing compared to Zhao Ritian. For a moment, Ling Xiao and Zhao Ritian started to compliment each other. Lu Wenlong and Lu Qingwan both widened their eyes in disbelief. What's wrong with these two people? Since when did they become so humble? Lu Wenlong and Lu Qingwan knew Ling Xiao well. They knew that although he was humble on the surface, he was extremely arrogant. He did not even care about the disciple of the Mount Dan talisman, so how could he compliment Zhao Ritian? Zhao Ritian, on the other hand, was a genius in alchemy. He was naturally close to fire, and the time he took to refine the 5 elements Saint Pill was much shorter than Ling Xiao. Such a person should be very proud. How could he say that he was inferior to Ling Xiao? Moreover, the compliments between the two of them made Lu Wenlong and Lu Qingwan blush. They were really shameless. They were simply praising each other as peerless geniuses that were rarely seen in the world. Lu Wenlong and Lu Qingwan did not know that Ling Xiao and Zhao Ritian were impersonating each other. Otherwise, they would have a different expression. Grandmaster Zhao, Grandmaster Ling, can the two of you stop for a moment? The alchemy talisman ceremony is about to begin. Let's hurry to the Castellan mansion. Lu Wenlong said with a bitter smile. All right. Ling Xiao and Zhao Ritian looked at each other and nodded in agreement. They stopped complimenting each other. Zhao Ritian, the gate to the realm of gods is already closed. How did you get here? Ling Xiao asked Zhao Ritian telepathically. What can you do about it? So what if the gate to the realm of gods is closed? I, Zhao Ritian, am the chosen one. I have my own way to enter the realm of gods. You, on the other hand, have only reached the second revolution half-saint after all these years. How disappointing, Zhao Ritian said with disdain. It seems like you have entered the realm of gods through other means. If I'm not wrong, it must be the spiritual body in your body that guided you, right? I'm getting more and more curious. What is the spiritual body in your body? Aren't you afraid that it will take over your body one day? Ling Xiao asked curiously. He felt a little more at ease. The gate to the realm of gods was still closed. Since Zhao Ritian had entered the realm of gods through other means, the people from the Changsan sect should not be in any danger for the time being. Who are you? You're not a plaything. Second Master will never take over my body. Don't try to drive a wedge between us. Ling Xiao, I haven't asked you yet. Why did you impersonate my name? Zhao Ritian was furious and asked in an unfriendly manner. Second Master? You've hidden it well. Ling Xiao smiled and said. Zhao Ritian, you know that my identity cannot be exposed. But you're different. You, Zhao Ritian, are destined to be famous across the universe. I'm borrowing your name to build up your reputation. Think about it, if you, Zhao Ritian, become the champion of the alchemy talisman ceremony, you'll become a genius that shakes the entire divine world. Really? Zhao Ritian was suspicious. However, he quickly regained his senses and said angrily, Don't try to fool me. Did you make too many enemies in the realm of gods? Is that why you're using my name to hide from them? I heard that the War God Shrine has a War God Shrine Master called Long Outyan. That's you, right? Aren't you embarrassed? You even tricked your cousin. Zhao Ritian did not hide his disdain for Ling Xiao. Cough cough. Of course not. I'm just building up my reputation for Outyan. Cut the crap. What's your motive for coming to the alchemy talisman ceremony? Let me tell you, I'm definitely going to be the champion of the alchemy talisman ceremony. Don't even think about snatching it from me. Ling Xiao coughed awkwardly. The champion of the alchemy talisman ceremony? Are you worthy? Who else can be the champion other than me? Zhao Ritian. Ling Xiao, I will definitely defeat you in this alchemy talisman ceremony. Chapter 1862. Let's wait and see then. Ling Xiao was a little speechless. To be honest, he did not have any enmity towards Zhao Ritian. Speaking of which, Zhao Ritian had helped him before. It was just that Zhao Ritian was a little stubborn. He always wanted to defeat Ling Xiao, but in the end, he always lost miserably. This was almost becoming Zhao Ritian's resentment. Let's wait and see then. Zhao Ritian snorted coldly. Lu Wenlong and Lu Qingwan did not know about the telepathic conversation between Ling Xiao and Zhao Ritian. The two of them were full of smiles. They thought that Ling Xiao and Zhao Ritian had a good relationship. The four of them soon arrived at the City Lord's mansion. The City Lord's mansion was an important place in Pill Talisman Mountain. It dominated the entire Taishan city, so it occupied a vast area. Ancient trees towered into the sky, pavilions and palaces stood in great numbers. It was filled with dazzling light and looked extraordinary. At the very center was an enormous plaza. It was paved with white jade and divine stones, and it was suffused with faint clouds and mist. It looked ethereal and peaceful. In the sky above the square, there were many huge stone platforms floating. They looked very ancient and were covered by a mysterious array. It was impossible to see what was inside. At this moment, there were many people in the square. Each of them had an extraordinary aura and were exuding a strong sense of confidence. There were more than 10,000 people in the square. Ling Xiao could see that there were no less than 10,000 alchemists and talisman masters who were preparing to participate in the Pill Talisman ceremony. There were also tens of thousands of other experts who came to watch the ceremony. Most of these people were saged to be experts. Although most of them had concealed their aura intertwined and filled the square with a powerful aura. Brother Lu, how do we compete in this Pill Talisman ceremony? Ling Xiao looked at Lu Wenlong and asked. Zhao Ritian also looked at Lu Wenlong curiously. Although he was eager to participate in the Pill Talisman ceremony, he did not know the specific rules. He could only wait for Lu Wenlong to explain. Lu Wenlong smiled and said, "There are a total of 3 stages in this Pill Talisman ceremony. However, the first 2 stages are just tests and eliminations. The Pill Talisman Dao and Pill Talisman Dao are in the 3rd stage. Only those who pass the first 2 stages are qualified to enter the 3rd stage. The first stage is the illusionary heart formation. Alchemists and talisman masters have high requirements for the strength of their primordial spirits and heart. There are more than 10,000 alchemists and talisman masters here. Not everyone can participate in the final test. The illusionary heart formation is a stage to test the strength of their primordial spirit and heart. There are various illusions. Only pass the illusionary heart. Only when you pass the illusionary heart formation. The second stage is small world. The minor Pill Talisman world is a secret realm of our Pill Talisman mountain. It contains all kinds of precious divine herbs, half-step divine herbs, and even origin divine herbs. There are also all kinds of powerful divine beasts and treasures of heaven and earth. However, it is also very dangerous. All alchemists and talisman masters must enter the small world. Everyone will be given a different list. They must collect all the primordial spirit herbs on the list to pass the stage. The 3rd stage is a competition between Pill Talisman Dao and Pill Talisman Dao. It is also the most important part of the Pill Talisman ceremony. After listening to Lu Wenlong's explanation, Ling Xiao nodded. The 3 stages did not sound complicated. The first 2 stages were eliminations, and the 3rd stage was the real competition. The most important thing is that I heard that the prize for this Pill Talisman ceremony is very precious. They might give out an origin source flame as the reward. Lu Qingwan suddenly said. The origin source flame. Ling Xiao and Zhao Ritian's eyes suddenly lit up. The origin source flame was extremely precious. Not only did it contain the origin source power of the Great Path, but if one could fully comprehend it, it would be equivalent to having an additional fruit of the way after becoming a saint. Moreover, the origin source flame had a very strong offensive power, which posed a great threat to saints. Even alchemy sages attached great importance to the origin source flame. Ling Xiao had never imagined that the Pill Talisman Mountain would actually dare to offer the origin source flame as a reward. It seems like Pill Talisman Mountain has really put in a lot of effort this time. Ling Xiao said softly. Ling Xiao, I will definitely be able to enter the 3rd stage. However, you better not be eliminated in the first 2 stages. That would be too boring. Zhao Ritian snorted coldly and sent a telepathic message to Ling Xiao. Don't worry. If you won't be eliminated, I won't be eliminated either. Even if you are eliminated, I won't be eliminated. Ling Xiao said with a smile. Rumble. A vast and majestic aura was emitted from the void. In an instant, a bright light burst out. 3 divine rainbows descended from the sky and landed in midair, exuding a powerful and unparalleled saint aura. They were 3 old men with white hair and beards. Their auras were extremely powerful, and their eyes were blazing. They were like 3 bright suns floating in the void. They were 3 sages. The one in the middle was Master Wine. Of the 2 elders beside him, one was chubby and had a smile on his face, while the other was extremely skinny. He looked very serious and did not like to smile. The chubby elder is the city lord of Taishan City, Tai Yunzi, a member of the Tai family. The skinny elder is Xiao Hong, the law enforcement elder of Pill Talisman Mountain. Xiao Hong is a member of the Xiao family, and is Xiao Rui's great-grandfather. Lu Wenlong sent a voice transmission to Ling Xiao, introducing the identities of the 2 people. The Tai family and the Xiao family? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He suddenly felt 2 unfriendly gazes. Looking into the distance, he saw Tai Xingyuan and Xiao Rui standing in the distance. Both of them looked a little gloomy, and there was a hint of murderous intent. If you dare to provoke me, I don't mind teaching you a lesson. Ling Xiao sneered in his heart. Everyone, I am Tai Yunzi. On behalf of Pill Talisman Mountain, I welcome all the alchemists and talisman masters. Not only the entire Taishan City, but even Pill Talisman Mountain is honored by your presence. This year's Pill Talisman ceremony is the same as before. It is divided into 3 stages, namely the illusory heart matrix, the small Pill Talisman realm, and the final alchemy contest and talisman contest. Tai Yunzi stood in the air with a warm smile on his face. He looked very gentle. He smiled at the crowd and explained the rules of this contest. However, Tai Yunzi and Lu Wenlong said the same thing. He just gave a more detailed introduction of the illusory heart matrix and the small Pill Talisman realm. As for the 3rd stage, it was very simple and crude. With the help of various herbs and treasures collected in the 2nd stage, whoever refined the highest quality elixir or talisman would win. This time, the champion of the alchemy contest will not only have the opportunity to enter Pill Talisman Mountain to comprehend the origin of the alchemy contest, but also have the opportunity to obtain a flame of origin. The champion of the talisman contest will not only have the opportunity to enter Pill Talisman Mountain to comprehend the origin of the talisman contest, but also obtain a copy of the talisman scripture. In the future, the alchemy saint and talisman saint will be just around the corner. Tai Yunzi said with a smile. Boom. Everyone was in an uproar. Their eyes were filled with excitement, and their eyes were bloodshot. Chapter 1863. The origin flames were formed from the origin of the Great Path. There were a total of 360 known origin flames in the universe. Someone had compiled them into the origin ranking. Anyone who could obtain an origin flame would have a much greater chance of becoming a saint than others. If a saint could obtain the origin source flame, not only could he comprehend the great Tao origin in it, but his combat strength would also be stronger than an ordinary saint. The origin source flame was fatally attractive to alchemists. If a 9-star alchemy grandmaster could obtain the origin source flame, he could easily refine powerful saint elixirs. The charm scripture must be a supreme classic left behind by the great emperor of talisman Taoism. Even if it was just a copy, it must contain supreme emperor's power, far surpassing that of an ordinary saint technique. It was naturally a supreme treasure for a talisman master. When the crowd heard that the champion of the alchemy talisman ceremony would receive such a precious reward, they were all excited. They rubbed their palms and couldn't wait to sweep through the crowd, break through the 3 rounds, and become the champion. In addition to the champion, the top 10 also received various precious rewards such as elixirs and saint treasures. However, compared to the origin source flame and the copy of the charm scripture, they were much inferior. Brother Lu, do you know what kind of origin source flame the alchemy talisman mountain will give out? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he looked at Lu Wenlong and asked. I'm not very sure either. This is the reward set by the mountain master, but it's definitely not as good as the celestial origin source flame of the mountain master's disciple. Lu Wenlong said slowly as he looked at a place in the distance. Surrounded by a group of genius men and women, an elegant and extraordinary man stood. He looked gentle with a faint smile at the corner of his mouth. He was dressed in white and looked like an elegant young master in a chaotic world. He had an outstanding bearing. He's the mountain master's disciple, Shuobufan. Lu Wenlong said slowly. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he nodded and said, a 9-revolution half-saint, a 9-star alchemy grandmaster, and also a 9-star talisman grandmaster. This person's talent is not inferior to Lin Shi's. I wonder if he will participate in the alchemy competition or the talisman competition. Brother Lu, how are you compared to him? Shuobufan should be participating in the grand alchemy competition, because I suspect that the origin source flame was reserved for him by the Mountain Lord. Although I really don't wish to admit it, his attainments in alchemy indeed surpass mine. Lu Wenlong sighed softly, a trace of sadness in his eyes. Oh, to be able to make Brother Lu feel inferior. This Shuobufan seemed to have some ability. However, the origin source flame is reserved for him. I'm afraid that might not be the case. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. That's right. That flame source Zhao cough. Ling Xiao, am taking it for sure. Zhao Ritian said with a proud smile. Ling Xiao ignored Zhao Ritian. However, he despised the Pill Talisman Mountain's actions. The so-called origin source flame as a reward was actually reserved for Shuobufan. Perhaps the Pill Talisman Mountain was also planning to use this Pill Talisman ceremony to make Shuobufan famous. If I'm not wrong, Lin Shi is probably participating in the Tao of Talismans competition, right? Ling Xiao said indifferently with a hint of mockery in his eyes. That's right. It's impossible for the sect to let them both suffer. Lu Qingwan also said helplessly. Rumble. At this moment, a bright light bloomed. On the square in the distance, an ancient stone door slowly opened. Light filled the air, and a somewhat distorted mysterious passage appeared. Everyone, the illusionary heart formation has been activated. After walking through the illusionary heart path, you will reach the entrance of the small pill talisman realm. There, you will receive the list of treasures that you need to collect. As long as you can collect the required items within the corresponding time, you will be able to enter the final competition. Alright, I won't say much. Next, it will depend on your ability. Tai Yunzi smiled faintly. Swoosh. 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 As soon as he finished speaking, a look of determination appeared in everyone's eyes. One by one, they leaped into the sky and flew towards the illusionary heart formation. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. He saw a woman wearing a veil and a cloak beside Lin Shi. Both of them flashed and flew towards the illusionary heart formation. Ling Xiao was a little excited. That woman must be Jin Sei. Just as he was about to enter the illusionary heart formation, he was stopped by Zhao Ritian. Ling Xiao, why don't we make a bet? Let's see who will leave the illusionary heart formation first. If you lose, you have to agree to one of my conditions. Zhao Ritian transmitted his voice to Ling Xiao with a provocative look. Not interested. Ling Xiao waved his hand impatiently. He did not even look at Zhao Ritian. Immediately, he flew towards the illusionary heart formation, wanting to catch up with Jin Sei's figure. I knew you were afraid. Ling Xiao, this time, I will let the world know that I, Zhao Ritian, am a peerless genius. I will defeat you ruthlessly. Zhao Ritian mumbled to himself. His eyes were filled with pride. In the entire square, other than the audience, many alchemists and talisman masters quickly entered the illusionary heart formation. Ling Xiao walked through the stone door. Before his eyes was a dazzling light. Immediately, he saw a grotesque and variegated space world. There was a faint mist in the surroundings. Even the void was slightly distorted. Rays of light looked very soft and dense, changing into various strange scenes. It was hard to tell if what was in front of him was an illusion or reality. Buzz. Ling Zhao's majestic primordial spirit power spread out. Under the perception of his primordial spirit, the mysterious space in front of him finally became clearer. Ling Xiao could see that in the distorted space, there was a faintly discernible path that led to an unknown direction. What a strange illusionary heart formation. It can actually change according to one's thoughts? Ling Zhao's eyes shone with a strange light. Although his heart was as calm as an ancient well, and his will was incomparably firm, a person's heart was the most difficult thing to subdue and the most difficult thing to predict. This formation could follow one's heart and change into various mysterious scenes. Ling Zhao walked forward slowly. Step by step, he was very determined. At the same time, he could feel a strong primordial spirit power coming from the side. It should be from other experts. However, everyone was very cautious. After testing each other, they quickly avoided each other. Rumble. The light in front of him suddenly bloomed. It was like a celestial flower. Mist filled the air, and a lady in red appeared. Her hair was white like snow and her face was unparalleled. Her eyes were filled with deep affection, and she was looking at Ling Zhao silently. Jinsei. Chapter 1864. Buzz. Right at this moment, Ling Zhao's heart realm trembled slightly, and emitted a majestic heart force. The Jinsei in front of him instantly disappeared without a trace. Ling Zhao stood on the spot with a complicated expression on his face. He sighed softly and muttered to himself. I know this is an illusion, but can't you let me see the Jinsei for a while longer? Ling Zhao knew that this was because he cultivated the great empty heart charm scripture, and his heart realm was too strong. Therefore, the illusionary heart formation did not have much effect on him. Following that, Ling Zhao encountered all kinds of mysterious illusions. Mountains of blades, seas of fire, seas of mulberry fields. He even saw his parents, Ling Zhao, Long Hanyan, and the people from the longevity sect. Although he knew that these were illusions, Ling Zhao would stop for a moment every time. Although it had only been 10 years since he came to the divine realm, Ling Zhao felt as if it had been a long time. Seeing those familiar faces again, even if he knew that it was an illusion, Ling Zhao still had mixed feelings. I will definitely master enough power. So strong that no one can shake me. So strong that I can protect all of you. Ling Zhao said slowly in his heart. His gaze also became incomparably determined. Whoosh. In the end, he took a deep breath and slowly walked forward along the illusionary heart path. No matter what illusion or realm it was, it could no longer stop him. The bright light in front of him spread out, and the clouds gradually thinned. When Ling Zhao stepped through a door of light, he saw an ancient stone platform in front of him. Ling Zhao knew that he had walked out of the illusionary heart formation. Ling Zhao, you have really disappointed me. You don't know, right? I only used half an incense to walk out of the illusionary heart formation. Originally, I thought that even if you were not as good as me, you wouldn't be too far behind. At least, you would be able to walk out in half an incense's time. I didn't expect you to use 3 incenses' time to walk out. Zhao Ritian's smug voice rang in Ling Zhao's mind. Ling Zhao saw that Zhao Ritian, who was in the distance, had a smug look on his face. Other than Zhao Ritian, Lin Shi Zhuobufan, Lu Wenlong, Lu Qingwan, Xiao Rui, Tai Xingyuan, Huang Xuanzong, and a few other people that Ling Zhao knew had already come out. There were also more than a dozen unfamiliar middle-aged and old men. Ling Zhao was actually ranked in the dozens in the illusory heart formation alone. Xiao Rui, Tai Xingyuan, Huang Xuanzong and the others who had a grudge with Ling Zhao revealed a trace of disdain in their eyes when they saw Ling Zhao. It took him the time for 3 incense sticks to burn to walk out of the illusionary heart great array. Although it was not bad, it was still far inferior to them. This made them look down on Ling Zhao even more. Ling Zhao didn't care about this. Anyway, as long as one could walk out of the illusory heart great array within a day, they would be considered to have passed. It didn't matter who came out first or last. If Ling Zhao were to charge at full speed, he might not be any slower than Zhao Ritian. However, when Ling Zhao saw the smug look on Zhao Ritian's face, he couldn't wait to punch him. Brother Zhao, Master Ling is indeed very strong. He is the first person to walk out of the illusionary heart great array. He is slightly faster than Zhuobufan. Lu Wenlong said slowly. His eyes were filled with amazement. On the other hand, Zhuobufan, who looked extraordinarily refined, had his eyes fixed on Zhao Ritian. His eyes shone brightly. Although he looked relaxed, Ling Zhao could still see a hint of seriousness in his eyes. The speed of charging out of the illusionary heart great array to a certain extent, represented the strength of one's primordial spirit and the firmness of one's will. Zhuo Bufan had never thought that there would be someone faster than him. In front of everyone was the entrance to the small elixir talisman realm. Master Jiao sat cross-legged at the entrance of the small elixir talisman realm. His expression was calm and his eyes were slightly closed. It wasn't until a day later that Master Jiao slowly opened his eyes. His deep gaze fell on everyone. Swoosh! A light flashed in his palm. Immediately, a rain of light fell. It was gorgeous and dazzling. It turned into thousands of resplendent jade talismans and accurately landed in everyone's hands. The list in the jade talismans contains the various medicinal herbs and heavenly treasures that each of you has to collect. You have 1 day. If you can collect all the treasures on the list in 1 day, you will pass the second round. However, the small elixir talisman realm is filled with dangers. Not only are there various powerful demonic beasts, but there may also be dangers among you. Collecting treasures requires you to be both intelligent and courageous. You must accurately face the dangers that you need to solve the problem. If you really encounter danger, crush the jade talisman, and you will be teleported out of the small elixir talisman realm. However, if you crush the jade talisman, it means that you have failed the second round and will be completely eliminated. I wish you all good luck. I hope that you can all pass the second round and participate in the real battle of alchemy and talisman Dao. Master Jiao said slowly to everyone. Rumble. As soon as his voice fell, resplendent talisman runes filled the air. A powerful array was activated. A mysterious spatial aura filled the air. The door of the small elixir talisman realm opened behind him. Zhao Ritian, the small elixir talisman realm is filled with dangers. If you die in there with your ant-like cultivation, it will be too boring. I hope you can live a little longer. Only then can I crush you in the third round of the Alchemy Dao competition. Xiao Rui said coldly as he looked at Ling Xiao. Almost all the people who had passed through the first stage of the illusionary heart great formation were high-level semi-sage experts. They were either alchemy grandmasters or talisman grandmasters. Only Ling Xiao was a second revolution semi-sage expert, so he was very conspicuous. Xiao Rui was already very hostile to Ling Xiao. At this moment, he naturally mocked him without holding back. Brother Xiao, what's the point of bickering with an ant? I think he is so scared that he doesn't even dare to enter the small elixir talisman realm. Tai Xingyuan also sneered. That's right. Brother Xiao is thinking too highly of Zhao Ritian by treating him as an opponent. Huang Xuanzong's eyes flashed as he smiled faintly. For a moment, the two geniuses of the 4 major clans and the saint of the 5 elements saint sect actually showed hostility towards Ling Xiao. This made everyone's gaze become subtle. Ling Xiao, you bastard. How did you provoke so many people? I'm going to be screwed over by you. Zhao Ritian's face darkened. Although he knew that the 3 of them had formed a grudge with Ling Xiao, he was still very unhappy when he heard them calling him Zhao Ritian. Ling Xiao ignored Zhao Ritian. Instead, he looked at the 3 of them and said coldly, You don't have to worry. I will definitely enter the small elixir talisman realm. Moreover, I will smoothly pass the second round of the assessment. As for the 3 of you, don't die in the hands of others. That would be too regretful. After Ling Xiao finished speaking, he didn't even look at the 3 of them. He kept the jade talisman in his hand and walked into the void passage. His figure quickly disappeared. Chapter 1865. In front of him was an ancient mountain range. The mountain range was undulating, and the end couldn't be seen at a glance. Ling Xiao appeared in the mountain range. Ancient trees towered into the sky, and the withered leaves on the ground were very thick. Everywhere exuded an ancient and savage aura. Roar! A powerful beast roar came from the mountain range, causing the surrounding ancient trees to tremble slightly. Leaves couldn't help but fall down. Ling Xiao released the power of his primordial spirit and roughly sensed it. The small pill talisman realm was very vast. Although Ling Xiao's primordial spirit could cover a radius of 10,000 miles, he couldn't sense the end of the small pill talisman realm. 10,000 miles away, there were lakes, plains, swamps, and also a desert with rolling yellow sand. This small pill talisman realm still retains some ancient aura. Apart from powerful demonic beasts, Ling Xiao didn't sense any other living creatures. Divine spirit fruit, 3-inch snake grass, blackwood spirit vine, 1,000-leaf flower. Ling Xiao took a closer look at the list of spirit herbs recorded in the talisman. There were actually more than 100 types of spirit herbs. Although most of them were divine herbs and could be considered as supplementary herbs, there were 9 half-step divine herbs and 1 origin divine herb. It wasn't so easy to find these 100 kinds of herbs in a day. Although everyone's list is different, I'm afraid that many people will find the same herbs. At this time, it's better to take the initiative. Otherwise, I'm afraid I'll be eliminated. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he said slowly. Entering the small pill talisman realm was a random teleportation. It was also to prevent people from forming groups that would be disadvantageous to others. Therefore, no one else appeared beside Ling Xiao. However, Ling Xiao didn't intend to find Lu Wenlong and the others. Instead, he decided to collect the herbs he needed first. Light spirit wood grain flower, dragon tiger grass, mist spirit fruit. It seems that these ordinary divine herbs aren't difficult to find. Ling Xiao's primordial spirit spread out, and immediately saw that there were many divine herbs in the mountain in front of him. Although half-sage herbs were rare, there were many ordinary divine herbs. Whoosh! Ling Xiao leaped up and rushed into the mountain. He immediately began to collect all kinds of divine herbs. On Ling Xiao's list, there were more than a dozen divine herbs. Ling Xiao found traces on this mountain. In addition to the divine herbs on his list, Ling Xiao didn't let go of the other divine herbs, and began to collect them. There are numerous treasures in this minor pill talisman world. Looks like it shouldn't be difficult to gather all the medicinal herbs on the list. Ling Xiao thought to himself. He had already swept through the surrounding 3 mountains, and found more than 30 kinds of divine herbs that he needed. He even found 2 half-step divine herbs. Roar! Suddenly, Ling Xiao heard a powerful beast roar coming from the valley ahead. The earth trembled, and the mountains shook. It was as if 2 demonic beasts were fighting. The aura was extremely shocking. Judging from its aura, it's at least a half-saint demonic beast. Let's go and take a look. Perhaps there will be some unexpected gains. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed, and he instantly retracted his aura, moving stealthily towards the valley in front of him. Heavenly materials and earthly treasures were usually guarded by powerful demonic beasts. Furthermore, Ling Xiao also felt a trace of a familiar aura from the cloud valley ahead. It was like the fluctuation of spiritual herbs, but also like the aura of demonic beasts. It was very strange. Whoosh! When Ling Xiao snuck into the cloud valley, he immediately saw the 2 demonic beasts in the midst of a fierce battle. One was a black python as thick as a bucket. Its scales were sharp, and its demonic aura was monstrous. There was a golden crown on its triangular head, and its eyes were full of bloodthirsty light. The black python was entangled with a huge white tiger that was hundreds of feet tall. The white tiger's hair was pure white without any impurities. However, there were traces of blood seeping out at this moment, dyeing its white hair red. On the other hand, the white tiger looked extremely ferocious. It bit down on the black python with its bloody mouth, and the 2 formed a stalemate. It's actually 2 demonic beasts at the peak of the half-saint demonic beast. Could it be that they want to perish together? Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of a strange expression. He didn't expect that he would encounter such a good opportunity to reap the benefits of others. The black python and the huge white tiger should be savage beasts. Their bloodlines were extremely shocking. However, the 2 seemed to be fighting with real fire. Neither of them wanted to give way. The black python was almost entangled with the huge white tiger, and the huge white tiger was also swallowing the black python's bloodline in large mouthfuls. The aura of these 2 demonic beasts became incomparably weak. Buzz! A strange light lit up in the valley, and it couldn't help but attract Ling Xiao's attention. It was a purple grass, and its entire body was suffused with purple light. It was like a purple sun, and its emerald green leaves were extremely thin and long, like an orchid. However, there were mysterious dragon scales on its surface, like dancing purple dragons. This is the purple sun dragon tongue orchid? Ling Xiao couldn't help but tremble. His eyes revealed a trace of incomparable surprise. The purple sun dragontongue orchid was a sacred origin medicine. Unfortunately, it wasn't the sacred origin medicine on Ling Xiao's list. However, it was said that the occipital bone of the purple sun dragontongue orchid contained a trace of the ancestral dragon's blood essence. It could be used to refine the purple sun sacred pill. A purple sun sacred pill could help a half-saint realm expert pass through a nirvana tribulation. Moreover, it could also enhance the strength of the body. Therefore, Ling Xiao was incomparably surprised. This purple sun dragontongue orchid was very important to him. Kacha. At this moment, the giant white tiger let out a mournful cry. It was actually the first to be unable to withstand the entanglement of the black python. Its huge body suddenly exploded into a cloud of blood mist. Hiss. The black python's eyes were cold and bloodthirsty. It opened its mouth and hissed. In an instant, it swallowed the white tiger's blood essence. The black python was originally about to be bitten into two by the white tiger. Its injuries were extremely serious. However, after it swallowed the white tiger's blood and flesh, its injuries began to improve. Boom! A sharp light flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes. The blood essence in his body rose, and he threw a punch at the black python. The black python's strength was extremely strong. If he waited until it recovered its strength, it wouldn't be easy to kill it, or even snatch the purple sun dragontongue orchid from its hands. As the saying goes, take the enemy's life when they are weak. Ling Xiao's terrifying physical strength erupted. His fist was vast and unparalleled. It was as if the heavenly emperor wanted to destroy the starry sky. It contained the power to crush everything. The black python also felt the terrifying power contained in this punch. Cold killing intent filled its eyes. In an instant, it opened its bloody mouth. A black vortex erupted from its mouth. It contained an extremely powerful devouring power. It was as if it wanted to devour Ling Xiao's fist and Ling Xiao himself. Chapter 1866. Rumble. This seemed to be the black python's innate ability. It contained an extremely terrifying devouring power. When it sensed a life and death crisis, it erupted with extreme power that could devour the heavens and the earth. Ling Xiao's gaze was incomparably cold. In the face of the black python's innate ability, his expression didn't change at all. The terrifying fist print fell, as if 3,000 macro worlds were crushing down at the same time. Puff! Ling Xiao's fist punched into the black python's mouth. The terrifying devouring power exploded with a bang. Ling Xiao's fist print directly penetrated the black python's head, and blasted its entire head into a bloody mist. Bang! The black python's huge body directly smashed onto the ground and died. The flesh and blood of these two demonic beasts actually contain such a vast amount of heaven and earth essence. It seems that their bodies are full of treasures. Ling Xiao clicked his tongue in wonder. The black python's snake scales were incomparably tough. If it hadn't opened its mouth to devour Ling Xiao probably wouldn't have been able to kill it so easily with one punch. These black python scales could be refined into powerful defensive treasures. The snake meat contained a rich amount of heaven and earth essence that wasn't inferior to an ordinary half-saint pill. After all, the black python and the white tiger had reached the peak of the half-saint realm. If both of them hadn't been injured, it would have been very difficult for Ling Xiao to kill them. Ling Xiao put away the black python and the white tiger's corpses. Then he walked to the center of the valley, and carefully put the purple sun dragontongue orchid into a jade box. With the purple sun dragontongue orchid, Ling Xiao's cultivation would be able to advance further after refining the purple sun saint pill. Whoosh! Whoosh! At this moment, two figures came across the sky like lightning and swept into the valley in an instant. It was a young man and woman in purple robes. The woman had a pretty face and black hair like a waterfall. Her figure was very tall and her skin was sparkling like jade. She seemed to have an extraordinary temperament. The man looked heroic with sharp eyebrows and sword-like eyes. He was incomparably vigorous. The cultivation of these two people had reached the 6th revolution half-saint realm. They looked somewhat similar, like a pair of brother and sister. The purple-robed woman sized up the situation in the valley. Her gaze landed on Ling Xiao, and she said coldly in a condescending manner, "Earlier, We heard that 2 demonic beasts were fighting. Their corpses should have been taken away by you, right? Hand over the demonic beast's corpse and the treasures in the spirit spring, and we'll let you go." The place where the purple sun dragon-tongue orchid grew was a spirit spring. Even now, there were still remnants of the Saint Medicine's aura, so the purple-robed woman could easily sense it. "What demonic beast's corpse? I don't know. If there's nothing else, please leave. I don't have time to waste here," Ling Xiao said indifferently. His voice was very calm. He only glanced at the 2 of them indifferently and planned to leave the valley. Whoosh! Flowing light flashed under the purple-robed man's feet, blocking Ling Xiao's path. "Friend, it seems that you really don't put us in your eyes. If you refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit, then don't blame us for being rude." The purple-robed man glared at Ling Xiao and said coldly, "You're welcome? How do you want to be rude? What does it have to do with you what I get in the valley? If you want to fight, then think about the consequences. I never leave anyone alive." Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he stared at the purple-robed man. Arrogant. "Big brother, I'll capture him and search his soul. I'm not afraid that I won't be able to find the treasures in the valley." The purple-robed woman's eyes turned cold and revealed a trace of killing intent. Whoosh! The purple-robed woman exuded a majestic holy path true intent. A purple soft whip appeared in her palm and shook violently in the void. It was like a long purple snake, lashing down at Ling Xiao at lightning speed. The purple whip looked extremely extraordinary. When it was unfurled, the purple scales on it were like the scales of a snake, containing a sharp cold light. If one was hit by this whip, it was likely that one's flesh would be torn apart in an instant. The purple-robed woman saw that Ling Xiao's cultivation was only at the 2nd revolution half-saint realm, so she didn't put him in her eyes at all. Her attack was extremely vicious. "Search his soul? You really don't know what's good for you." Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of killing intent. He stood on the spot and didn't dodge at all. Instead, he stretched out his hand to grab the purple soft whip. "Idiot!" The purple-robed woman couldn't help but sneer when she saw Ling Xiao grab the purple soft whip with his hand. Although this purple soft whip wasn't a perfect holy treasure, it was a top-grade half-saint treasure. It was made from the scales of the purple-scaled snake king that had lived for more than 1,000,000 years. Moreover, it contained the original spirit of the purple-scaled snake king. In the future, it might even be promoted to a holy treasure. Even a 9th revolution half-saint wouldn't dare to use his physical body to resist the purple soft whip. In the eyes of the purple-robed woman, Ling Xiao was simply courting death. However, the next scene caused the purple-robed man and the purple-robed woman's expressions to change involuntarily. Bang! Ling Xiao's seemingly ordinary hand directly grabbed the purple soft whip. Then, a surge of divine power surged over. Not only was the purple-robed woman unable to pull the purple soft whip, but Ling Xiao actually pulled it over abruptly. Slap! Ling Xiao's expression was incomparably calm. He grabbed the purple soft whip and directly swung it out. It was like a purple lightning bolt, directly hitting the purple-robed woman's face. The purple-robed woman couldn't dodge in time. She was even a little stunned by Ling Xiao's attack. In an instant, a bloody mark appeared on her face. Moreover, the unparalleled divine power transmitted to her face, causing half of it to be smashed in an instant. Second sister. The purple-robed man's expression changed. His eyes instantly turned red, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. "Ah! Elder brother, kill him for me. Kill him, ah!" The purple-robed woman suddenly screamed. Her eyes were filled with incomparable resentment. At this moment, she hated Ling Xiao to the extreme. Her face had been smashed by Ling Xiao, which simply drove her crazy. She even forgot to think about how Ling Xiao, a mere 2nd revolution half-saint, could withstand the purple soft whip head-on. She just wanted Ling Xiao to die. Boom! The purple-robed man swung his sleeve, and his entire body soared into the sky. A purple soft sword emitted a clear sword cry. In an instant, countless sword lights converged in the void and enveloped Ling Xiao. The purple-robed man's sword essence was very extraordinary. Although his cultivation was only at the 6th revolution half-saint realm, This sword technique gave him the power to fight against a 7th Revolution half-saint. Get lost! Chapter 1867. It was a simple punch, but it contained invincible fist intent. It was as if all the stars in the sky would be annihilated by this punch. Previously, when Ling Xiao took the purple scale soft whip, the purple-robed man did not feel how strong Ling Xiao was. However, this punch made his expression change instantly. His eyes were filled with disbelief and horror. It was as if he was an ant facing a divine dragon. How is this possible? You are only a 2nd Revolution half-saint. How can you be so strong? Who are you? The purple-robed man roared, and his face was extremely ferocious. Bang! Ling Xiao did not answer him at all. The invincible fist print swept across the void, like a bright sun blooming. The sword light that filled the sky was directly reduced to dust under this punch. Ling Xiao's punch did not lose its momentum and directly collided with the purple scale soft sword. The terrifying fist print broke the sword light, and the bright runes exploded. In the end, the purple scale soft sword could not withstand the power of Ling Xiao's punch and directly exploded into pieces. Puff! The purple-robed man looked as if he was struck by lightning. His chest suddenly collapsed, and countless ribs were broken. He spat out blood and was directly sent flying. If it were not for the purple scale soft sword, Ling Xiao's punch would have blown him up. You are Zhao Ritian? The purple-robed woman seemed to have thought of something, and could not help but scream. Her eyes were filled with disbelief. Zhao Ritian. When the purple-robed man heard this name, he could not help but tremble. Zhao Ritian was considered famous in the entire Taishan city. It was not only because he was a 9-star alchemy grandmaster, but more importantly, because of his combat strength. It was rumored that his combat strength was extraordinary. Although he was only a 2nd Revolution half-saint, he had the strength to fight with a mid-level half-saint, or even a high-level half-saint. Thinking of the domineering punch just now, the purple-robed man suddenly had no intention to fight in his heart. Seeing Ling Xiao walking toward them calmly, the purple-robed man and the purple-robed woman could not help but tremble. Second sister, let's go. The purple-robed man spat out blood as he rushed to the purple-robed woman and grabbed her. Buzz! A dazzling rune blossomed from his palm, instantly wrapping around the two of them and disappearing from Ling Xiao's sight. Teleportation Saint Rune? Ling Xiao was slightly taken aback. He had originally wanted to make these two stay here forever, but he had not expected them to be so decisive, directly taking out a Saint Talisman. The Saint Talisman was incomparably powerful. It could shift the void and contain the power of the origin of space. This meant that there was a powerful talisman master behind these two. He was at least a 9-star talisman grandmaster, or even a talisman saint. Ling Xiao did not take them to heart. He turned around and left the valley. Tens of thousands of kilometers away, light flashed on the bank of a clear small lake, and two figures appeared. They were none other than the purple-robed man and the purple-robed woman. Big brother, I can sense that there's definitely an origin source sacred medicine in that valley. Are we just going to hand it over to that Zhao Ritian? The purple-robed woman's eyes were filled with unwillingness. What else can we do? Zhao Ritian's combat power is extraordinary. We are no match for him. If I didn't use the life-saving talisman that my master gave us, we might have died in his hands. However, since he dared to offend our house of Ziyang, we are no match for him. Master will definitely be able to kill him. The purple-robed man said coldly. That's right. Let's go find my master. That bastard Zhao Ritian. I will definitely ask my master to kill him. The purple-robed woman hated Ling Xiao to the core. Her face became even more twisted and ferocious. All right, let's go. The purple-robed man and the purple-robed woman leaped up and flew into the distance. Ling Xiao was still searching for various spiritual herbs in the mountain range. The small pill talisman realm was an ancient secret realm. It contained all kinds of precious treasures. The list given to everyone by the Pill Talisman Mountain contained more than 100 kinds of treasures. It was very difficult to collect all of these treasures in a day. Many of the treasures on the lists overlapped. Therefore, there were constant conflicts between them. Ling Xiao saw a few rounds of fighting in the mountain range. However, Ling Xiao did not participate in those fights. He chose to avoid them whenever he encountered them. It was not that Ling Xiao was afraid of them. Instead, Ling Xiao felt that meaningless fighting would only waste time. He needed time to find the hundreds of medicinal herbs that he needed. Ling Xiao's primordial spirit was very powerful. In addition, he had obtained the inheritance of the Hunyuan Pill Saint. It could be said that he knew all kinds of ancient spiritual herbs like the back of his hand. In half a day, Ling Xiao had collected more than 90% of the various spiritual herbs that he needed. These semi-sage herbs all contain rich fire attribute energy. They usually grow in the depths of deserts or volcanoes. It seems that I need to go to that desert to take a look. Ling Xiao stood on top of a mountain. The mountain wind was blowing and the clouds were drifting around him. He stared at the vast desert in the distance and muttered to himself. Ling Xiao had already collected more than 90 of the hundreds of spiritual herbs. There were only 3 semi-sage herbs left and 1 origin sacred herb left. The 3 semi-sage herbs were the red flame jade ginseng, the heavenly fire divine wood, and the red scorpion root. They were all semi-sage herbs of the fire attribute. Ling Xiao had already searched the entire mountain range, but did not find these 3 herbs. Therefore, Ling Xiao planned to go to the desert in the distance to take a look. There was a majestic flame aura there. These 3 semi-sage herbs should be there. As for Ling Xiao's origin sacred herb, it was too strange. Ling Xiao had not discovered anything about it until now. Whoosh! Ling Xiao leaped up and passed through the mountain peaks, flying towards the desert. However, when Ling Xiao flew past the outermost mountain, his eyes flashed and he stopped in his tracks. What a familiar aura! Ling Xiao's eyes flashed and landed on the mountain peak. This mountain peak was tens of thousands of feet high. It looked very ordinary and did not seem to have any spiritual herbs aura. It was the boundary between this mountain range and the desert in the distance. However, Ling Xiao felt that there was a powerful demonic beast in the mountain. He even detected a trace of a strange fragrance from the demonic beast's body. Why is the aura of the stalagmite Holy Spirit flower on a demonic beast? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed and he instantly flew towards the mountain peak. The stalagmite Holy Spirit flower was the most precious origin sacred herb on Ling Xiao's list. It was a stalagmite that had been growing for hundreds of millions of years. It had absorbed the essence of heaven and earth and nurtured spirituality. It was incomparably precious. Chapter 1868. On the mountainside, there was a towering ancient tree rooted on a huge rock. The branches and leaves of the ancient tree were sparse, and its bark was mottled like an old dragon. As the mountain wind blew, it made a rustling sound. A huge black bear was lying on top of the rock. The sun shone on its body, making it feel warm and comfortable. Its simple and honest face was full of enjoyment. Boom! However, its breathing was like thunder. Every time it breathed, it would make a loud rumbling sound. The ancient tree trembled slightly as if it had felt the terrifying blood and chi of the black bear. There were no demon beasts or even insects in the area around it. The aura of the stalagmite Holy Spirit flower was coming from the black bear. That aura was very faint and ordinary people wouldn't be able to detect it. However, Ling Xiao's perception was very sharp. He sensed it. The black bear must have come into contact with the stalagmite Holy Spirit flower. Bang! When Ling Xiao descended from the sky and landed directly in front of Black Bear, there was a loud bang, which gave Black Bear a huge fright. Black Bear immediately scrambled to his feet with a blank expression on his face, which made him seem charmingly naive. Human? You dare to disturb my rest? You're really hateful. Do you believe that I won't kill you with one slap? The black bear looked at Ling Xiao with an unfriendly expression. It spoke human language and raised its fat paw to show off its power. The black bear's aura was very powerful. It had also reached the peak of the semi-sage realm. Its blood and chi were rising. Its breathing was like thunder. Even the other demon beasts at the peak of the semi-sage realm didn't dare to provoke it. The black bear's explosive power was too strong. Even a lion or tiger of the same level would be killed by a slap of the black bear's paw. Black Bear, have you seen the stalagmite Holy Spirit flower? Ling Xiao asked indifferently. However, his eyes were fixed on the black bear. Sure enough, the black bear's face changed. Its eyes became scarlet. Its body emitted a murderous aura. It stared at Ling Xiao and said, "How do you know about the stalagmite Holy Spirit flower? Human, you dare to covet my treasure. It seems that I'll have to teach you a good lesson today." When the black bear stood up, although it was only about 10 feet tall, Ling Xiao could clearly feel that the aura of this black bear was extremely terrifying. Its blood and qi were incomparably powerful. It was even more terrifying than the black python and white tiger that Ling Xiao had encountered before. The black bear's face was full of hostility. It was full of hostility towards Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao was speechless. He had wanted to test the black bear monster to see if it knew the whereabouts of the stalagmite Holy Spirit flower. However, it seemed that the black bear monster had a one-track mind. Not only had it seen the stalagmite Holy Spirit flower before, it had even treated it as its own treasure. "Black bear, if you obediently bring me to the stalagmite Holy Spirit flower, I will not kill you in exchange. How about it?" Ling Xiao. "Human, you have successfully angered Lord Bear. Lord Bear will let you know the consequences of offending Lord Bear." The black bear stared at Ling Xiao and said coldly. The black bear exuded an extremely terrifying blood and qi. In an instant, the void trembled violently. It raised its huge bear paw and slammed it down towards Ling Xiao. The black bear was like a black whirlwind. Its speed was extremely fast. When the bear paw fell, it was like a black curtain that covered the sky. It was as if there was no way to dodge. Although the black bear looked very clumsy, it was as fast as lightning when it attacked. If one underestimated the black bear, they would suffer a great loss. Ling Xiao was also surprised by the black bear's speed. However, he did not dodge. Instead, he chose to punch out. Roar! Ling Xiao's blood and qi surged. A faint dragon's roar filled the air. At the same time, a purple light bloomed. It was as if there was a bright purple divine sun above his chest. Ling Xiao did not dare to be careless. He activated the terrifying divine power around him and exploded with a terrifying punch. The fist and palm collided. Instantly, the void trembled violently. A violent explosion sounded. Ling Xiao and the black bear trembled violently. They could not help but retreat. "Oh, human, you're not bad. You can actually block this bear qi. Come. Fight with me for 300 rounds. There was a hint of surprise in the black bear's eyes. His face was full of eagerness, and his battle intent rose. He roared and charged towards Ling Xiao again. The bear paw was very large. It contained an extremely terrifying power. It was like a metal rock. Even a half-step Saint treasure would be smashed into scrap metal by the black bear. Ling Xiao activated the terrifying physical strength around him to fight the black bear. The black bear's physical strength was simply the strongest Ling Xiao had ever seen in his life. Bang! 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 Ling Xiao and the black bear fought fiercely. The man and the bear seemed to be in a real fight. Their blood and qi surged. Every time they collided, an extremely terrifying fluctuation would erupt. The surrounding mountain rocks flew everywhere. The earth trembled violently. Several towering ancient trees in the surroundings were blasted into powder. The dragon's roar around Ling Xiao's body was endless. His eyes also became more and more dazzling. Every time he collided with the black bear, Ling Xiao's blood and qi surged. Each punch was stronger than the previous one. Ling Xiao's physical body was extremely terrifying, due to his complete divine dragon body, and the over 1,000 tribulations indestructible saint technique. So far, he had never met an expert who could compete with him in terms of physical strength. This black bear was indeed very strong. However, after hundreds of rounds of fighting, the black bear could not hold on any longer. Although the black bear's explosive power was very strong, it lacked patience. After all, with such a terrifying physical body, every attack would explode with all its strength. After a long time, the black bear felt a little tired. Ling Xiao's fist landed on the black bear's nose. Immediately, the black bear was in so much pain that it was about to cry. It grimaced and even gave up resisting Ling Xiao's fist. It began to cover its head and scurry away. "Stop fighting. Stop fighting. Human, I admit that you're stronger than me. Stop. The black bear cried as it begged for mercy. Bring me to the stalagmite Holy Spirit flower, and I'll let you go. How about it? Ling Xiao said with a smile. However, he did not relax his attacks at all. His fists were unparalleled and landed on the black bear's body. Although the black bear had thick skin and thick flesh, it was still beaten by Ling Xiao until it trembled all over and blood flowed out. Good. As long as you let me go, I'll bring you to the stalagmite Holy Spirit flower. The black bear did not have a shred of integrity. It did not even hesitate and nodded its head like it was pounding garlic. It immediately agreed. Ling Xiao's final punch sent the black bear flying. After that, it also stopped. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He saw that the huge rock that the black bear monster had been leaning on had been blown to smithereens by the shockwaves of the battle. However, that rock was not damaged at all. It was very strange. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.